Just a gorgeous day in New York today, from a placid lake in Central Park to the traffic around Columbus Circle, all the way to Citi Field, where Terry Collins has something to worry about. His team's offense has browned out over the last few days. They've gotten late home runs, though, from Scott Hairston and Lucas Duda, and they're looking for more heroics tonight. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Florida Marlins. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Ron Darling and Keith Hernandez join me in just a moment as the Mets play the middle game of their three-game series against the Florida Marlins. Florida won in 10 innings last night, 7-3. The Mets have lost 3 in a row, and they've scored only 5 runs in those 3 games. News off the field today: Johan Santana has hit a roadblock in his rehab attempt. He was supposed to make his second rehab start this week. However, Santana is returning to New York. He's going to see the doctor on Thursday. He has what is called lingering discomfort in his surgically repaired right shoulder. We should know more later in the week. As for the pitchers here tonight, Ron Darling, they are waiting for Santana to arrive. However, right now it's uncertain whether he's going to pitch this year at all.
You know, when you talk about Johan Santana, the Mets just faced Chin-Ming Wong of the Washington Nationals, and he pitched on the 2-year anniversary of his getting that surgery. So there's definitely going to be some stops and starts. There's going to be some times they're going to have that lingering discomfort, and it's good for him to come to New York and make sure it's nothing serious.
As for tonight, it's Chris Capuano on the mound, and he's hit a little bump in the road.
Well, Cap has lost a little bit of his control, especially of his fastball. He did get the win in his last start, but gave up 6 earned runs. He's going to have to be better than that tonight against the Marlins. He's going up against a rookie, Brad Hand, who, when you look at him, he's got all the tools you could have. Great fastball, great breaking pitch, kid from Minnesota. He has struggled so far in the strike zone.
As for that Mets offense, we decided to find out what the Mets are doing about it. And so we sent our intrepid reporter Keith Hernandez down to the batting cage tonight to get a look. See, Keith, what did you see?
Well, Gary, it's I will say one thing. I know you guys are up there sweating. It's very breezy down here and comfortable, but I think I watched BP today. We noticed that we noted that Terry Collins thought that his ball club was pulling too much here at Citi Field. So I went down the field. They were going to work on everybody going the opposite way. What I noticed in particular was Dave Hudgens, the pitching coach, how intently he watches his troops, particularly Angel Pagan. He worked very diligently with him. They conversed. Angel was working to go keep the front shoulder, and as we said in the broadcast, is the team now that looked like gangbusters in Cincinnati, where they just took care of the Reds and scored a lot of runs. They went into Washington now, and it kind of hit a bump on the road. We'll see if this translates into runs.
All right, Keith, and we'll get you back up to the booth in short order to join Ronnie and me for the broadcast. Mets and Marlins coming up from Citi Field. All the action on SNY. To you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By New York's 529 College Savings Program. By Lexus. By Parts Authority, the only name in auto parts you'll ever need to know. Visit them at partsauthority.com and become a VIP member today. By Audi. And by AT&T, rethink possible. Kids go free to Citi Field with the purchase of a regularly priced ticket. Kids 12 and under will get free admission to Mets games through Sunday, August 7th. Get to Mets.com/kidsfree for tickets and details. Plenty of time for a snack. Oh, he went to Mama's. Nice choice. Chris Capuano getting ready. First pitch coming up from Citi Field. It turns out that some things haven't changed at all.
Exactly. You heard that as a child, that same delivery.
Here's your forward Florida Marlins starting lineup. Mike Stanton front and center with his extra inning grand slam last night. Youngest player to hit an extra inning grand slam since Johnny Bench in 1969.
Wow. Johnny was only, 17 days younger than Mike Stanton. That was his game last night. Not only his offense, but that great throw from right field to get Reyes. You see the Verizon Capuano numbers this season. He has struggled. 14 runs given up in his last 19 innings pitched. 15 home runs is a problem number, especially against this talented and powerful Marlins team.
And we'll take a look at the Metropolitan Lexus defense, and you see Duda at first base, and he's only made one error there. Lucas, they're trying to find a spot for him. I'm glad he's in the lineup every day. Right field last night hit the bomb, and he needs to play every day. And I like the way he's played first base. Murph is getting a rest tonight with the left-hander.
Terry Collins decided before last night that Murph was going to get the rest because Scott Hairston needed to get into the lineup against the lefty. Scott's been very hot with the bat, but not getting a whole lot of starts. Marlins have beaten the Mets 6 out of 9 this year, and the guys at the top of the batting order have been a big factor. Bonifacio, Infante, Sanchez all have huge numbers against Met pitchers this year. So Capuano, who's already faced the Marlins twice in the last 2 weeks, will go through this same lineup again. Bonifacio 1 for 5 last night, 296 on the year. First pitch of the night is in for a letter high strike. Bonifacio, who had his 26-game hitting streak stopped Friday, has not stopped hitting, and he's been one of the best hitters in the league this year against left-handed pitching. And a good changeup by Capuano gets Chris ahead 0-2.
Bonifacio is a better right-hand hitter, obviously. The Florida Marlins are 16 and 15 against lefties this year.
One from Capuano. Omar Infante on deck, and then Gabby Sanchez in the opening inning.
Ron, I never would have figured at this point in the season that Capuano would have had 102 strikeouts and 121 2/3.
That's right, and really has limited the walks. You know, he's sneaky. He pitches up in the strike zone to set up that changeup away. He loves to double up on that fastball in or up.
He's had a lot of 3 strikeout innings early in the game, too, I think, when he establishes inside.
His last start was in Cincinnati. Didn't pitch particularly well, but pitched on the right day, a 10-9 win. He gave up 6 runs in 5 1/3 in that start. The first Met to get a victory in a game he gave up more runs than innings pitched since Steve Traxel in 2006.
There's another crafty left-hander in his day, Danny Wortham, the pitching coach.
Outfield shallow against Bonifacio. And Capuano goes low and inside, 2-2. Ronnie, Capuano is facing the Marlins for the 3rd time in 16 days, which is a real rarity. It happened because of the makeup game the Mets and Marlins played a couple of weeks ago. Struck him out, and so Capuano starts by fanning Bonifacio one away.
You know, Gary, it is a rarity, but the thing working in Capuano's place is that when he is good, a lot of pitches are out of the strike zone, like that change with the Bonifacio. And this Marlin team, for the most part, are young hitters that are aggressive.
Here's Infante, 3 for 5 last night, just tearing it up since the All-Star break. And he's now hitting .429 against the Mets this year. And he rockets one to deep left field. Back goes Bay to the track. It's over his head, and it's out of here. Omar Infante with just his 2nd home run of the season. And the Marlins jump out to a quick 1-0 lead.
Well, there's 2 guys in this lineup that are murderous. And that's this man right here, and obviously the man in the on-deck circle coming up, Gabby Sanchez.
You know, Keith, they always talk about that you have to have a big swing to hit home runs. If you watch Infante's swing, when we show it again, it's about as short as you're going to see a swing to hit a home run.
Well, it's a high belt high fastball over the middle, and he's all over it. He stays level on the pitch belt up.
No, he went up there looking for the first pitch fastball, which Capuano threw for a strike to Bonifacio. But Infante jumps on it, and the Marlins are out quickly. And now Gabby Sanchez 2-0.
He better himself from yesterday. Started the game with a triple, today a home run.
Sanchez 2 for 3, 2 RBIs last night. Just continues wrecking of the Mets. Lifetime .390 against the Mets, the best ever. Ever. That covers a long time.
Better than Jeter?
Better than Jeter.
Wow.
And a swing and a miss, badly fooled on the changeup, 2-2 to Sanchez. Here's your Cholula, who's hot. Those are the highest lifetime batting averages ever for at least 100 at bats against the Mets. Gabby Sanchez in his 2nd season on top of the list. Sluggo, Don Slott's on the list.
Oh, there he go. He's got 41 hits. Sanchez.
Tied him up. It's in for a call, strike 3. Nice pitch by Capuano on the inside edge. Sanchez didn't think so and tells Tim Welke. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Capuano.
There's your strikeouts again, Keith. This one inside. Does he paint, or is it a little inside? Gabby Sanchez thought it was in. Coming from that left side, sometimes it crosses the plate. Did he catch a corner of the front of that plate?
He has a grip.
He does.
So 2 out now. Hanley Ramirez. Hanley was 1 for 5 last night, and he checks the swing and takes a strike. By the way, Capuano's in pretty good company on the Infante home run list. His only other home run this year against David Price.
Wow.
Pretty good left-hander. Ramirez hitting .314 against lefties this year.
Capuano, with his intelligence, he's got to know that Welke gave him that pitch about 3-4 inches inside. He should pound that inside and see if he can keep and continue to get that call.
Precisely.
Now, if as a hitter you see the pitcher's getting that inside corner, you move a step back.
That's a good point, Garrett. I found most of the time that you find more discrepancy with the outside corner with umpires than you do the inside corner. If he's calling a pitch that far inside, that's troublesome for a hitter.
Good up fastball by Capuano. 2-2. Here's your umpiring crew: Tim Welke, the crew chief, Fletcher, Reynolds, and DeMiro, who had the plate last night. To Ramirez, and Hanley fouls it off.
There used to be an umpire, Ed Brinkman, who was known not only for his umpiring but for his umpiring schools. And you would throw to him, Gary. He loved to call that inside strike to right-handers, and it didn't matter what time of the game, and you would really try to attack that zone. Maybe Welke's the same.
Again, the 2-2 and the changeup. He held the swing in time. Andy Fletcher with the call. 3-2.
Well, if that pitch had the corner, Ronnie, he's got him struck out because he completely fooled him. That's the pitch prior.
Going right back to the changeup on 3-2, and he got him. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Capuano, but interrupted by Omar Infante. Swinging the first pitch fastball, and Infante parks his 2nd home run of the year. And the Marlins jump out to an early 1-0 lead at Citi Field. Twenty-one-year-old left-hander Brad Hand, who has staked to a 1-0 lead. Hand throws the first pitch strike. Reyes 1 for 5 last night as his mini slump continues, hitting .200 over the last 8 games. your Geico Mets starting lineup. Wright moves up to the 3-hole. Hairston goes into the cleanup spot against the left-hander. Duda, the only left-hand hitter among the position players in the lineup tonight.
Terry Collins was asked, well, he's first Brad Hand's numbers here, just 6 starts so far in the major leagues. You can see that batting average against, doesn't give up many hits, walks more than he strikes out so far.
2-2 to Reyes. A couple of wide strikes to Jose. 340, good enough for best in the league, although that average is down about 13 points since he came back from the DL.
Now, like I said last night, it's hard to hit 350, let alone 340.
2-2 from Hand, and the breaking ball fouled off.
And Jose is just a little bit out in front. There's nothing wrong with his swing. He's been getting under balls a little bit. He's had some pitches that he's hit, Gary, and it's off the end of the bat, which means he's just a hair out in front.
Terry Collins said today before the game that Reyes and Dave Hudgens had identified a couple of things on video that they worked on earlier today that Reyes was doing that he was not doing earlier in the season. Terry was a little cagey about what he was talking about, didn't want to provide any scouting reports.
Hey, he's been so good, Reyes, for the first 4 months of the season. You know, it's due for a little bit of a lull. You know, then he'll break out and get red hot again.
2-2 from Hand, and it's bounced to third. Bonifacio with the toss off the bag comes Sanchez to make the tag. 1 away.
We'll take a look at the Coors Light. They'll be the Florida Marlins. I mean, the Miami Marlins next year when they move into the new stadium. And you can see we saw the arm of Stanton last night exhibited, throwing out Jose Reyes at home plate, and also with the bases loaded off the single from Turner. I'm sorry, that was not that I'm mistaken there. But he's got a cannon. He threw out Reyes by a mile. You never see that.
Did you hear what Jack McKeon said about Stanton's throw last night as Justin Turner stands in? He said normally Stanton kills birds with his throws. He said he didn't kill any birds last night.
Well, he's always had the good arm. He's just not always getting the position to throw the ball, but he did. I don't know if you guys remember watching that play. He took about 2 or 3 steps before he unloaded that ball. Still got Reyes by 10 feet.
Turner 1 for 5 last night, hitting at .272 for the year. And he bounces 1 foul. There's that flip from last night.
And how often do you see, now he's playing in, but how often do you see Reyes thrown out this far? I mean, that was right on the money, that throw. I've never seen Jose thrown out by that much.
Neither has Jose. And as Turner flies one out to Stanton and Wright, has to come a ways to get it. 2 out. And neither had Chip Hale, which, you know, is part of the whole equation. When you got Jose Reyes coming around third base, you got to figure he's going to score.
Reyes with a good jump, cuts the corner. The ball's down the line. Stanton has to go to the line. Everything was there for him to send him. Other than the score.
Let me put out another thought, and I did not ask Chip about this, and I should have. Is there a little bit in Chip Hale's mind saying, I don't want Reyes slamming on the brakes because I'm concerned about his hamstring?
Well, he could have held him up quickly.
Right.
I just think Chip's got the aggressive nature. I think he just made a decision to go with it and go with Reyes' speed.
Here's David Wright with 2 out and nobody on. David last night played his first home game in nearly 3 months and saw his 10-game hitting streak come to an end.
He's been swinging a very, very good bat since coming back, obviously. But I like the way his approach. He's cut down the long swing. He's hitting line drives. He's going up the middle using the field.
Some gaudy numbers since coming back from the DL.
No, Gary, I think you're right about. I'm just thinking about, could he think about that hamstring and maybe stop him? I think the hardest job in the National League for a third base coach is, you know, if you have your best pitcher coming around that bag, you know, do you want it to be a close play at home? Usually you err on being conservative.
Hand falls behind 3-1. Brad Hand walked 6 in 3 2/3 innings in his last start against Washington, so I'm sure the Mets have thought about being very patient against him early. But it's been a big strike zone early in this game from Tim Welke, and it's 3-2. In fact, Jack McKeon pulled hand in Washington in the 4th inning, having allowed only 1 run with the lead in the middle of the batter because he had walked 6. Wright gets under 1 to center field, and Mike Cameron camped under it. 1-2-3 inning for Brad Hand. We go to the 2nd at Citi Field with the Marlins up 1-0. At Bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Check in using At Bat at Citi Field to receive special offers. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit Mets.com for details. Logan Morrison leads off the 2nd inning with the Marlins up 1-0. Morrison 1 for 4 last night, hitting a .248 for the year. It'll be Morrison, then Mike Stanton, and Mike Cameron against Capuano in the 2nd. See Morrison with good career numbers against Capuano, but just 3 plus .230 this year against lefties overall. Morrison had a home run against Capuano down in Florida 2 starts back. Bouncing ball to the right side. Duna's got it. And Capuano over to cover, 1 away. Ronnie, I want to get back to talking about facing a team 3 times in 16 days, which Capuano is doing. And except for a kind of quirky thing that happened to Jerry Koosman in his career, it's never happened before in Mets history. So do you change your game plan at all? Do you change your sequence at all?
Well, I think for Cap, both times he's pitched against him, he hasn't pitched particularly well. So I think you have to take solace that I have not had my best stuff when I've gone against him. When they see my best stuff, I'm going to shut them down. You can see the 4 runs each time. The thing for Cap, like I said before, though, this is a good matchup for him. It's a lot of right-handed hitters, a lot of guys that free swingers. They like to swing at the ball out of the strike zone, which sets up perfectly for him.
Well, here's Stanton, who hit the game-winning grand slam in the 10th inning last night, and he hit it very hard.
They were talking today, Tommy Hutton, the TV voice of the Marlins, and BP yesterday, evidently Stanton hit a home run in the 3rd deck.
Third deck,
which we haven't seen. This is the grand slam. And it's such a short swing, and that's just a 2-iron right there. But we saw Mark Reynolds hit a home run over that Bob's Furniture sign in the little bit left of center field. He hit it above. Go up with the camera. The next level up. He hit it here. Oops, I got the spotlight.
Nice.
How about that? I'm getting very good at this.
That's very fancy.
That's where he hit it. That is a bomb.
This one lifted to center field and easy for Angel Pagan.
Now, granted, it's BP, but still, hey, that's where Kingman hit him. You know, the big guys.
Well, not literally. Kingman never played here.
Right, exactly.
Kingman would hit them over the back fence and into the parking lot in left field at Shea. Here's Mike Cameron. Cameron has 6 home runs, 3 of them since joining the Marlins. In fact, he had a 2-home run game last week. Mike is now 38 years old, picked up from the Red Sox earlier this year.
Boy, all the weather cleared out. It's a beautiful day. The planes are landing over the center field fence. No noise.
It's going to be much cooler tomorrow. It's supposed to be mid-70s for a high.
Beautiful day game. A beautiful twilight for a ball game.
Gary, you're talking about Capuano. It is. It's very difficult to face any team. I remember I found it so difficult in '86. The only time I ever did it, like Capuano's done it, was in the World Series when I faced a team 3 times in 10 days. And it's very difficult.
Cameron lays off the changeup, and it's 2-1. 2 out and nobody on. We're in the second. 1-0 Florida. Mike Cameron back in Flushing, where he spent 2 years as a Met in 04 and 05. Had a 30 home run season for the Mets in 04.
Always a good fastball hitter up in the strike zone. Was never a great breaking ball hitter.
His defense kept him in the lineup.
Yeah, but he was always a danger up there. He was not an easy out. He was a good player. He's had a nice career. Steal bases. Obviously the Gold Gloves, and defensively.
The intangibles he would bring to a ball club also.
Yep. Tremendously positive presence in the clubhouse. He pops one a mile high. Duda waiting for it to come down. And the sign retires. So Capuano sets him down 1-2-3 in the second. Still 1-0 Florida. Retired 6 of the first 7 to face him. The only blemish, a home run by Omar Infante. And the Marlins have a 1-0 lead as we start the bottom of the second. Scott Hairston getting the start tonight. Now, this is what Scott has done lately. Since the 8th of July, when he hit the 9th inning home run off Brian Wilson, 7 for 19, 4 homers, 9 RBIs. So you think he should get a start every now and again?
You would think.
Well, that's what Terry Collins thinks too. That's why he's in there today. What'll be interesting is to see whether, if he has a nice day today, whether he might get some more starts against right-handed pitching, which the Mets haven't seen many lefties lately. When you think about Hairston's biggest moments in that stretch, home run off Brian Wilson, one of the best closers in the game. Home run off Drew Storen, another right-handed closer.
Well, if you're a lighting expert in a movie, you would love it right now if you're at home plate. It's coming off the office buildings in right center field and right to the catcher, John Butt and Scott Hairston. They're lit up like they keep them in the movie.
Comes off those windows in the Verizon building. We've seen that a lot in the last couple of months at this time of the evening. By the way, those 4 home runs for Hairston in the month of July led the Mets. Pulls one over the bag. Bonifacio can only get a piece of it. Say it's a double, but Hairston's got an infield single.
Now, Keith, you like this matchup, huh, Hairston? Against Hand?
Yes, he's a high ball hitter and a fastball hitter. You're not going to throw a fastball by Scott. And that one was a little bit off the end of the bat. And I think Bonifacio had a tough time throwing him out.
So the Mets have their first base runner of the night, an infield hit for Hairston. And now Jason Bay, who drove a home run over the fence in right center last night. Really showing off his strength in that he took a high outside pitch and really just used his arms to hit it out.
Yeah, he didn't have much lower body in that swing, but that's what Jason's a upper body hitter like a lot of hitters today.
Another positive sign for Bay, who's had a few of them the last week. Breaking ball hit foul.
Oh, here it is last night. And was very good about this, even though it was a mistake. Still, he was behind the count 1-2 when he hit that ball.
So in the last 5 games now, Bay is 9 for 20 with 5 RBIs and 5 extra base hits. So things have been going much better for Jason of late. And that bases clearing double in Cincinnati last week. He's driven a number of balls to right center in the last week or so.
Boy, there's a lot of dust kicking up on the field down there. I did the open. I got it in my eyes.
Kevin's down there every day.
Oh, never had that problem when you played.
It's true.
And strikes out Bay with a breaking ball.
Well, this is as good a curveball as you're going to get from Hand right here. If he can do that all the time, that's going to be pretty tough.
Well, Terry Collins mentioned before the game that Hand had a good arm. His breaking pitch can be pretty devastating if you get ahead of these Mets hitters.
That's a hard curveball, isn't it?
He's one of those guys that, with the 21 walks coming in and 29 2/3, there's another diamond in the rough. You know, and if he's going to get behind the count, and he's going to have to come in with that cheddar.
Harrison at first with 1 out. Angel Pagan the batter. Angel 1 for 4 last night. Got that double in the 9th inning ahead of Duda's tying home run.
Well, you can see right there, and they've talked about it. The Hand has been pushed up here to the major leagues. Josh Johnson's on the DL, of course, not going to pitch the rest of the year. He really doesn't know how to control the running game, does not have a good move over there. And Buck's only thrown 15% of the runners out. Be a place that the Mets could try to take advantage of the Marlins.
And Hairston's running. Buck's throw. Got him.
Oh, really?
I think his slide came up short. I think he was going to beat it, but his slide kind of got stuck in the mud.
Wow.
Infante with the tag. Second base umpire Jim Reynolds right on top of it. 2-4 on the caught stealing. I think you're right, Ron.
That's one of those where if you slide head first and stay low, you're safe.
Hooked through the hole and a base hit for Pagan. So Angel with a 2-out single. Only Hairston's second stolen base attempt of the year. He was successful on his first one, not on this one. And is debriefed by Terry Collins. So now here's Duda, who had himself quite a moment last night with 2 out of the 9th inning. Taking one deep into the Big Apple seats in center field against Leo Nunez to tie the game with the Mets down to their final out. Duda's 3rd home run of the year, 2 of them against Nunez.
Well, when Lucas gets the barrel of the bat out and squares it up, he is so strong. That was a line drive, too. And that got Leo Nunez talking to himself.
Ready for the funny part.
Lone save for Nunez, who wound up with the win after Stanton's grand slam. And Duda pulls a base hit into right. So the 3rd hit of the inning for New York. And now 2 aboard with 2 down.
Well, this is a pitcher right here of this young Brad Hand, who guys aren't hitting 178 against him. He's given up 3 hits in the inning. His problem has been his walks, not giving up hits.
Now Mike Nickius getting his first start since returning to the Mets this past week. He was called up when Carlos Beltran was traded to fill that roster spot. Nickius started 7 games for the Mets back in April. Remember, Ronnie Paulino was unavailable at the beginning of the year because of suspension and then problems with anemia. So Nickius was with the Mets the first month. Wasn't hitting much at Buffalo. 5 hits and 20 at bats with the Mets this year. 2 out and 2 on. Nickius is a superb defensive catcher, and if he could just hit a little bit, he would love to keep him around.
Hit a little bit. He's a real leader, even though he hasn't had a lot of time here. He's a guy that they probably look at when he retires someday to be on their coaching staff. Here's Ronnie Paulino. But he also could help the Mets late in games when they need someone a little more agile there behind the plate.
And Hand gets a generous call ahead 0-2. Tim Welke have an appointment after the game?
He's calling everything inside out, up and down.
Well, swing the bats, boys. Two on and 2 out with the pitcher Capuano on deck. And breaking ball from Hand misses 1-2. Brad Hand, just 21 years old, the 4th youngest player currently in the major leagues. The Astros have 2 guys younger. Jordan Lyles, their starter, who hasn't won a game for them yet, and their second baseman Jose Altuve, who was just called up a couple of weeks ago. The other younger player is the Cubs' Starlin Castro. He's had a terrific rookie year. And from Chaska, Minnesota. You know those kids from the northern climes, they develop a little later. Nickius hits one out to right center, and Cameron is there. And that retires the side. Mets have 3 hits in the inning, but the caught stealing costs them. Still 1-0 Florida after 2. Chris Capuano just getting his warm-up tosses completed before John Buck leads off the third for the Marlins. You know, Florida with their win last night, now just a game behind the Mets in the standings. A few days ago, Marlins were on a losing streak. The Mets were roaring through Cincinnati, and it looked like they had kind of put the Marlins in their rearview mirror, but things changed quickly.
It's not only their close records that make these teams a lot alike. They both do not play well at home. They play better on the road. They've got the same record against the Central teams. That's their best record, 16-11.
And what has kept the Marlins close to the Mets is the fact they've played so well against the Mets. They've won 6 of 9, but that's been a recurring theme the last few years.
And the rehiring of Jack McKeon. He's turned this club around.
Pulled down to third off the bat of Buck. Long throw to make for right on a hop and scoop nicely on the backhand by Duda. 1 away.
Well, David gets in front nicely here. Uses his body. Really sets himself and throws more over the top. Now, it's not a good throw. It's in the dirt, and I hope he doesn't bite his tongue. But nice scoop by Duda.
That was a tough scoop.
Yep.
You know what's interesting there is David just separated his hands right off the bat. No tapping of the glove. Separated his hands, got his arm up.
Well, know your runner. Buck can't run.
Yep.
John Buck and the catcher. Plenty of time to set.
Red hand looking for his first major league hit. And Capuano ahead of him 0-2.
Well, you got a slow runner here. You got plenty of time. Balls hit routinely. Set yourself just like that. Beautiful. Take your time. Oh, that was a great move.
Now,
I could never do that. I tried that my whole career and could never do that.
Cha. Reyes throws that hand 2 away. So that's 7 in a row set down by Capuano since the Infante home run. 2 out and nobody on. Now Emilio Bonifacio will be the batter.
Well, with Capuano, when he follows through to the third base side. Got the rookie Duda at first base. Bonifacio has 7 bunt base hits this year. If he does go, look for him to push it towards Duda.
Bonifacio struck out on a changeup his first time up, and he shows bunt and takes it low. Bonifacio has been the greatest beneficiary of the managerial change. Went from a manager who did not believe in him to one who clearly does. And he does push the bunt. Going to be tough to throw him out. Capuano turns and fires, and Turner can't catch it, and they call him safe. The first base umpire didn't see that Turner had dropped it, and so Andy Fletcher initially called him out. But Turner did not catch the ball.
Well, this is a tough play for a pitcher, is it not, Ron?
Yeah, it is. What you have to do there, Turner got there a little late, and it hit him in the glove. He would have been out if he could caught that baseball, but maybe blinded a little bit by Bonifacio coming down the line.
And they're going to score that a bunt hit for Bonifacio.
You know, the other thing you can do, and Tom Seaver said he wanted to do it his whole career and never could do it, you just drill that runner right in the back because he's inside the baseline. They have to call him out.
And, of course, it's almost impossible for a guy going home to first to not run inside that, to the inside of that 3-foot lane.
Especially when he bunts, because it takes him out in the field.
That could have been ruled an error because that throw was right on the money.
Yep.
He dropped it there. He kind of flinched at the runner.
Kind of handcuffed him.
Yep.
And I think the scorer probably went with the difficulty of that.
It's fine either way. But that was a nice play by Capuano.
He was.
He's such a good athlete.
Yep.
Bonifacio 24 steals this year. He's only been caught 5 times. Was not running much before Jack McKeon took over, and he's running at virtually every opportunity now. And Infante, who homered his first time up, slashes 1 foul.
Well, first ball fastball hitting, and he got one right there. Inner half of the plate up. And that got the Marlins on top.
One of many Marlins with gaudy career numbers against the Mets. Capuano has given up some stolen bases this year. In the past, he was almost impossible to run on. He's given up 6 in 10 tries this year.
What they've done to Cap, because he has such a good move, they don't take a big lead, so his move is negated, and they just guess. and they've been guessing more than they're wrong.
And I think he's given up a couple of those steals to third base. And a pitch out, which the Mets have not done much of this year. But Bonifacio was not going 1-1.
But people fail to talk about on the pitch out guys. They always talk about the catcher move too early. The key is the pitcher. You can't quick pitch to home. You have to really take your time to induce the runner to want to go.
There goes Bonifacio.
Good job.
And no chance for Nikias on a low inside pitch.
What a jump. He just said, okay, once he breaks from the belt, I'm going to go and take a chance he's not coming over. And then with his speed, you're just not going to have a chance to throw him out.
And you know, Keith, after the pitch out, not many managers call 2 pitch outs in a row. It just doesn't happen.
He just breaks right from the belt.
25 steals for Bonifacio, so he's in scoring position with 2 out. Look at that. 21 of his steals have come since McKeon took over. A check swing foul. 2-2 to Infante. Look at that. 4 steals while Edwin Rodriguez was manager in 63 games. 21 steals in 37 games since McKeon took over. That's startling. And Jack felt as though Bonifacio was afraid of getting thrown out. And he told him, I don't care if you get thrown out. Run. And Bonifacio took it to heart.
That's all it takes.
Two and two to Infante with 2 down. And a pickoff try. Turner gets over, but Bonifacio back.
It's just shocking to me, Ronnie, that they're letting pitchers go to their mouth at the mound now.
Yeah,
because
I know.
That was a no-no in our day.
I always want to. Is that a balk? No, I guess not anymore.
It throws me off.
Well, it used to be if you were on the dirt and you went to your mouth, it was an automatic ball. Breaking ball, pulled foul. And, you know, they wave that on cold days when you can blow on your hand.
Yeah,
right.
Well, it's a speed up rule thing, isn't it?
Right.
So you don't stomp around the mound on the grass.
Question: on cold days when you can go to the mouth, pitchers usually blow in their hand. You're still not allowed to go to the tongue.
No.
Wipe?
Well, you can spit in there a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Your stealth.
Well, the rule is now you can go to your mouth as long as you wipe it off after you do so.
You tell it to Gaylord Perry.
I don't like that hole between first and second. I don't know about you guys with Infante hitting.
To me, there's 2 outs. There's 2 outs. Infante is already in scoring position. Oops, I'm still in the circle. Sorry. Let me get off the circle. Let me do the free hand. There.
The Bill Freehand?
Yes. Get over in the hole to the right because he's already in scoring position. Cover the ground. Keep the ball on the ground ball. You want to knock it down. Keep it on the infield. Prevent the run from scoring. 1 out. You got to hold it close.
I think Turner wanted the spotlight. Here's the 2-2. And slider misses. Full count to Infante.
Nice job by Nikias. Not only does he get in front of it, but he smothers it. That way he stays right in front of you. See how he throws like his midsection and his chest right on top of that baseball? That quiets that ball so it doesn't carry him somewhere else.
That guy from free score has a nice swing.
Here's the 3-2. And he strikes him out with a changeup. So Infante down on strikes. When we come back to the bottom of the 3rd, Jacob Resnick joins us. Jacob is our Kid Caster of the Year, and there he is. You'll be hearing from Jacob when we go to the bottom of the 3rd here at Citi Field.
Credit scores one place. We go to the bottom of the third at Citi Field. The Marlins with a 1-0 lead, and we're very pleased to welcome Jacob Resnick, who is 11 years old. He's from Manhattan, and he is our SNY Kidcaster of the Year. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you win this honor?
Well, I saw a commercial for advertising the contest, and so I went online and I entered an essay, and they called me back for an audition. So I went to the studios and I had an audition, and I guess I won.
Cool. Have you always been a Met fan?
Yeah, whole life.
Whole life. Covers a lot of ground. Who's your favorite ever Mets player?
I like Tom Seaver a lot.
You saw him pitch.
No, maybe. Now I would say Reyes. Ike Davis I like a lot. Hopefully he can come back and play some more.
Great. Where do you go to school?
I just graduated from PS11 in Manhattan, and I will be going to the New York City Lab School in Manhattan.
Nice. In Chelsea.
Yep.
Capuano down on strikes. Well, here's your moment, Jacob. Jose Reyes coming up. You take over.
Okay, so Jose Reyes to the plate now. And Jose 0 for 1 with the ground out today. Jose facing Eric Hand. Brad Hand, actually, I'm sorry. And he will face him for the second time in his career. He faced him earlier, of course. So here's the first pitch from Hand, and Reyes rips it. Back it goes. And it's gone! A home run for Jose Reyes, and the Mets tie the game. Jose Reyes with a solo shot on the first pitch from Brad Hand, and he takes it into the left field seats. What a swing from Jose there. A great swing, Jose, as we look on the replay. And it was a breaking ball, hung right out in the middle, and Reyes just ripped it to left field. His first home run since July 23rd. His fifth home run of the year, 36th RBI.
That was fantastic, Jake.
That was a great call.
Felt great.
And I have to tell you, you've now stepped into what has turned into an SNY Kidcaster tradition.
Yeah, last year.
Last year, Kara Ann called a David Wright home run. And it only took you one pitch. I think Kara Ann took her 4 or 5 pitches.
Yeah.
That's great.
Nice call.
You had that one pegged all the way. Now, were you anticipating that, or
No.
Did you have a home run call in mind before you called it?
Well, the thing is, I think of a home run call, and then it's just so quick. It happens, and you can't really think about it. It just happens, and it felt great, though.
Oh, good. I'm glad it did. Now, is this something that you aspired to do when you grow up?
Yeah, I really want to have a career in broadcasting because, I mean, I watch you guys every night, and you do a great job, so I want to be just like you.
Turner lines it to right, and Stanton over to grab it for the second out. Well, you're off to a rip-roaring start, I'd say. One pitch in the big leagues. I mean, how many guys get a home run on their first pitch?
Well, a couple more of these Kidcasters are going to be unemployed out there in Sag Harbor, kid.
Didn't Mike Jacobs do it? Mike Jacobs and Kaz Matsui?
That's right, Matsui, the first pitch he saw in the big leagues.
That's right.
Good recall.
So there's Jose in the dugout. An interesting stat, I did some research and found out that when starting pitchers start and they're rookies against the Mets this year, the Mets are 2-7 against them. Just recently they lost to Yunieski Maya of the Nationals for his first career win. And last year they were 10-12 when rookie pitchers started. So the Mets haven't been that good against rookie pitchers. But Jose's taking advantage of that and hitting balls to the left field seats.
I wanted everybody to know that Jacob came prepared tonight with all of the game notes from the Mets and the Marlins. He's got little stickums and paper clips on there. He has come as prepared as a professional broadcaster would to the game here tonight. That is very impressive.
Thank you.
Are you always this diligent with your homework?
Sometimes.
Let me ask you, when you watch the games tonight, do you ever score them?
I have. I even developed my own little scorecard. I was watching the game, and they were showing Keith's scorecard, and I just thought it was so cool, you know, with the colors and everything.
Oh yeah. See here's my stuff.
Yeah, and so my
Sharpies.
I started to do that with lineup cards that I made and everything, and
really?
I used colored pencils to color in the.
Cool. See, I'm not such a bad influence.
That's a first.
You didn't realize you were so educational. 1-2 to right, who fly to center his first time. And he goes down swinging to end the inning. Well, Jacob, that was absolutely fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Way to go.
On the start of your professional broadcasting career.
Hey, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Jacob Resnick took him only one pitch to take Reyes deep.
Rips it. Back it goes. And it's gone. A home run for Jose Reyes. And the Mets tie the game.
Staying in a 1-1 game, and Gabby Sanchez leads off against Chris Capuano. Sanchez went down looking and barked about it his first time up. And he takes one on the outside edge, 0-1. Well, that was something I didn't think that we were going to experience again after last year when Kara Ann called the David Wright home run. But Jacob was spot on.
He was. Well, Gary, you know, I mean, it's bound to happen because Reyes hits all those home runs from the right side.
Yeah, that's his first of the year. Well, Reyes was in the cage early today working with Dave Hudgens. Terry Collins was talking about how they had identified on video a couple of flaws. Well, whatever it was, he seemed to have worked it out in that at bat.
Well, I hope that Jacob's mom doesn't mind me betraying her confidence, but her.
Oh. Sanchez just got under that one, and Bay will have a play.
But her emotion coming into the booth to see Jacob made the night for us, didn't it?
Just seeing that embrace, that was spectacular. Here's Hanley Ramirez, who struck out his first
You were
time.
going to congratulate him on the call, and he just flew out of his chair right into his mother's arms.
Good for him. Here's Ramirez. And he drives one to left. Bay moving over, diving, but he can't get it. Ramirez heads for second, and he'll pull in with a one-out double. Hanley scorched that one. Nice effort by Bay, who Went down hard on the turf.
Well, it's going to be a double anyway. Make an effort to try to make the put out. You got Pagan backing you up.
Well, it's interesting. There's some sunglasses on the warning track behind Jason Bay. I don't know if they're. There we go. Maybe off the top of someone's cap, although they shouldn't have the sunglasses on tonight.
And Jason's a little shaken up. He's doing some bends from the waist. Clearly took a little hard hit as he hit the ground on that dive.
That kind of dive, Gary, you can lose your breath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like being hit by a middle linebacker. Yeah. Here's Logan Morrison, and he takes a slider for a strike. Morrison grounded out to first base his first time up. So solo home runs by Omar Infante in the first, by Jose Reyes in the third have us even. 3 hits now off Capuano, and Reyes staying very close to Ramirez at second base. Hanley had a stolen base last night. A ball and a strike to Morrison. Braves just added a run. They've gone up 3-1 on Washington in the fourth, with Derek Lowe against John Lannon. Despite that low batting average with runners in scoring position, Morrison led the majors in RBIs in July. 26 in July, 56 for the year. I think Reyes is trying to lull Ramirez by getting him to laugh out there at second base.
I don't know. Yeah, little gamesmanship, right?
They have a very healthy, friendly rivalry, and they do a lot of conversing in these spots.
Well, when Hanley first came up, I wouldn't say he was Jose's size, but he was not the man he's grown into. I mean, he is, what, 6'3", 6'4", 225 now.
Well, it's led a lot of people to wonder whether Hanley has a long-term future as a shortstop, or whether he'll be moved to third base or maybe to the outfield.
Much like Cal Ripken, if you recall, Davey Johnson took over the Orioles and tried to move Cal over to third base, and Cal did not want to go.
Yeah.
And that was a very contentious relationship between the two of them.
And Manny Alexander got caught in the middle of that. He was the guy Davey finally had replaced Cal at shortstop.
Cal had far more power than Davey.
Or just about anybody else. 3-1 to Morrison, and he fouls one at the plate. 3-2. Now, you used to talk to guys when they came to first base, right?
Of course. I'd always want to find out how you feeling. Just want to bat pretty good. No, I don't feel very good. And he's always doing some CIA work right there. We're undercover. Covert. Try to find out what's going on, how you feel. Oh, you heard someone say, gosh, I'm red hot. I feel great.
3-2. And he walked him. First walk of the night for Capuano. In fact, the first walk on either side. So now 2 aboard for Mike Stanton.
Papa Warthen, he's got his little brood out there, one of his brood. He worries so much. He's got his heart and soul with his pitching staff.
Stanton flied to center his first time up. What a presence he has become in a short period of time. 25 home runs this year, 3rd in the National League. And the prodigious distance of his home runs in a very short period of time is becoming legendary.
Well, he hits laser beams out of the ballpark. He's got that level swing and that high pitch. Eduardo Perez right there, the new pitching coach. And he's a man that takes notes. Came from a very nice Hall of Fame father, Tony Perez.
Ripped foul. Now, we saw Stanton last year and we saw him earlier this year, but he looks like he's a little more locked in now than in the past.
He looks more comfortable and confident.
And not swinging at as many bad pitches.
Yeah, he was swinging at everything last year. Really getting an idea of the strike zone. Broke his bat there. Did you guys see Saltalamacchia last night break his bat in two and hit a home run in Fenway Park?
Two from Capuano. Another one lifted to center field. Hanley tags at second. Pagan puts it away. Ramirez goes to third. Throw goes to second. 2 out.
Well, when you watch Capuano work, it's fastball in. He beat him. Another fastball in. Did not beat him there. Wanted to go up in the strike zone to set up that changeup. Never got it there. Threw it over the plate and lucky to get that ball back. That's the one thing about guys like Capuano. You spend your entire game, 95% of your game, down in the strike zone, right around the knees. So when you try to throw that elevated fastball, sometimes you're thinking you're throwing it high in the strike zone. It's more like middle. You really have to concentrate on throwing it kind of head high.
Can the catcher help you with that?
You know, I know that they now get off their haunches and kind of hold that glove there. It's hard to look at a glove that's 6 feet off the ground. Just aim head high.
So now first and third and 2 out for Mike Cameron in a tie game. Cameron popped up his first time up. In the dirt, and a good stop by Nickius with Ramirez at third base. Boy, he's very smooth back there.
That had run written all over. This is tough. Look at that in front of home plate. Nicely done. Even made the play with his bare hand after he blocked it with his body.
There's the other part of the fraternity.
Those guys hang together all the time, catchers. One and 0 to Cameron. Ronnie, for a left-hand pitcher, when you've got a runner at third base behind you, how do you sense him?
Especially the problem with Ramirez, who's got some good speed. I think you need help. You need your catcher to be heads up and give you some help. Your third baseman David Wright can yell, Cap, step off if he gets too big of a lead.
I mean, we saw a circumstance, gosh, I'm trying to remember who it was, steal a home on a throw to first base a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, it was Cliff Lee was the pitcher,
right?
And he tossed the ball to first base, and the runner Ackley took advantage of it. Was it Ackley? I'm not sure, but he took advantage of the soft toss to first base and scored the run.
And took advantage of Brian Howard.
Right, because Howard did not react well either. Here's the 2-2 to Cameron. Couldn't quite get it to the back door, and it's 2-2.
You know, I definitely think that is a ball, but it's a call that Welke has called early in the game, and that strike zone is shrunken a little bit now.
Check the count. It's 3-0. Look at the scoreboard, which had it misstated. So it's 3-0 to Cameron with first and third. He'll swing in these spots. He takes that one for a strike. Cameron still has a home run bat at age 38. Especially in these situations where he can anticipate.
Good shot of Jack McKeon. He's seen a few ball games from that position before, that vantage point. Fastball right by him.
Yeah. Now it's 3-2.
Well, I've always thought of Cameron as more of a guy that you can tie up inside and up because he has that long swing and that powerful swing.
Once hit 4 home runs in a game. He was the guy who replaced Ken Griffey Jr. in center field in Seattle when they dealt into Cincinnati. Morrison runs the 3-2 is foul back. So Cameron has had himself some career. Gold gloves.
So widely regarded by everyone in baseball. Probably one of the reasons he keeps getting a job and moves around.
Ramirez at third, Morrison at first with 2 down. 5th full count already for Capuano. And it's low, ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
Boy, oh boy.
Very close pitch.
Told you, right, Keith? They shrunk up that strike zone to Welke a little bit.
Well, Welke was calling everything for a strike early. And that looks like a strike, doesn't it?
A little bit too close to take, huh?
So now the bases are loaded with 2 out, and Terry Collins is hollering at Welke.
I bet one of the words that are being used is consistent. Be consistent.
So now John Buck, whom the Mets have already seen hit a grand slam this year. That was on opening day when he hit one off Pelfrey. Buck grounded out to third base his first time up, and he takes a slider for a strike. Buck 0 for 5 in this series. He's got 11 home runs this year. Ramirez at third, he doubled. Morrison at second, Cameron at first. They both walked. Big batter for Capuano here in the 4th. And Buck lifts one to left center. Back goes Pagan. Should have room. And he runs it down to end the inning. So Capuano gets 3 fly ball outs and leaves them loaded. Scott Hairston will lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 4th. He's had his home run bat ringing lately. Leading off for New York, and we check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Guys, if you want some fun baseball stories, you just sit in Jack McKeon's office for 45 minutes for a game. Boy, he is something else. I mean, he really loved interacting with the media today, telling story after story after story, and I caught up with him for a little bit. And how about this story? He started managing, he estimates, when he was 12 years old, from South Amboy, New Jersey. His dad ran a taxi company, and he said what would happen is he had his team that played baseball, and they kind of got sick of the neighborhood, was looking for more games. So he took out a couple of ads in the small Jersey papers that said, looking for a game, call me, put his home number on there. People called. He used his dad to get a small team bus. They bussed around Jersey and played games. And he said, I managed the team. I got us together, got us on the bus, and kind of set out the lineup. So Jack McKeon at age 12, managing small ball in Jersey, guys. Pretty impressive.
68 years later, same deal.
He's been a leader since 12.
Going around the country and finding a ball game here and there. Hairston at an infield hit his first time up, then was caught stealing. Like the Mets going with their traditional look tonight with the pinstripes.
by far my favorite uniform of theirs. We were unfortunately never had that kind of color, Keith, in our day. We had the white with the piping.
Oh, and then in the road uniform with the handwriting on the New York, that was awful.
This year going back to that slightly off-white look.
There it is.
That's great. That's your era.
Hideous. I tried to talk Charlie into getting our uniforms back into the old New York, the old ones.
New York block.
Yeah, block
And
letters.
No go. I failed. I didn't have that kind of power. I tried.
Well, just took a little longer. Two and two to Hairston with Bay and Pagan to follow. Brad Hand has allowed a run on 4 hits over the first 3 innings. Knocked out in the 4th in his last start in Washington when he walked 6 batters, and Jack McKeon took him out in the middle of an at bat. Well, he hasn't walked anybody tonight. Now he's got 3 and 2 on Hairston. And in fact, for Hand, that's only his second 3-ball count of the night.
Assistant trainer Mike Herbst right there chatting with Pelfrey, and
I think he
Reyes?
was describing Jacob's call of Jose's home run.
Yeah, right.
For Jose. You'll never believe what happened.
Jose should put him on a payroll.
Yeah. Here's the 3-2 to Hairston, and he rips one, a base hit, and Hairston is 2 for 2. So Scott Hairston in the lineup against the lefty, and that pays off.
Well, I like the matchup for Hairston. They've got a fastball pitcher, not command of his breaking ball, throws hard, he gets up in the strike zone. That's right into the strength of Hairston.
He's now got 9 hits in his last 21 at bats. And remember the slow start Scott got off to. Well, he's now hitting .280 for the year with 7 home runs and 100 at bats. I mean, that's tremendous production for a part-time player. So the Mets get the leadoff man on for the second time against Hand. Jason Bay struck out his first time up. And there's a strike. Bay appears to be just fine after that diving attempt on the Hanley Ramirez double. And Hand starting to miss with that breaking ball.
Well, we're talking about the high fastball hitter that Hairston is, your IOTV pitch differential. Not much, but the problem is it's belt high, and you throw waist high and up to Hairston, you're throwing right into his strength.
Angel Pagan on deck. Lucas Duda behind him as the Mets try and break this tie in the 4th. Mets have scored 6 runs now in their last 4 games, all on home runs.
And they were world beaters in Cincinnati.
Without hitting any home runs, or very few. He was putting line drive after line drive, drawing a few walks in between.
The more home runs they score, the less. More home runs they hit, the less they score.
Seems that way, doesn't it? All started with Hairston's 2 home runs in Washington on Saturday. After they got shut out. That was on Sunday after they got shut out Saturday.
And then the Giants go into Cincinnati after that series and get swept by Cincinnati.
And by the way, the Giants also lost last night to the Diamondbacks, and they now lead by only 1 game over Arizona after Ian Kennedy beat them last night. Kennedy's now 13-3.
Saw that.
3-1 to Bay. And he takes ball 4. Jason didn't think it was ball 4, but he'll take it. Similar pitch to the one that Capuano walked Cameron on in the top of the inning. So after Tim Wilkie was calling everything a strike early, not so much now. And the Mets have the first 2 men on for Pagan.
Well, they're going to have to bring the corners in, and Jack's not fooling around. He's got St. Clair on the horn to the bullpen. He's not going to let this game get out of hand.
Got very little patience. He has shown that repeatedly since taking over. Remember when he pulled Randy Choate in the middle of an at bat?
And this right here is just stall right here. And that's one thing that every pitching coach should do, and that Dan Warthen doesn't do. When you're kind of stalling, Dan likes to trot out to the mound. You can go out there, take your time, take a Sunday stroll, make the umpire come out and break up the tea party. then take a Sunday stroll back.
Brian Sanchez will get up in the bullpen for the Marlins. Hard to keep all the Sanchez's straight with Florida.
Oh, that's right. The S's and the Z's.
Anibal and Gabby and Brian. Well, the Mets struggling to score runs right now. All the runs coming on home runs. They've got a chance here to build an inning. See what they do with Pagan. You got Duda on deck, but then you've got the light hitting Nikias and Capuano behind them. So I don't think a sacrifice really plays into the Mets' strength here.
They're playing for a sacrifice, though, by Florida.
Well, Pagan ready to swing. You know what I mean? If Pagan punts, they walk Duda, then you got Nikias and Capuano.
Would you walk Duda, lefty?
Pitch around him anyway.
You're in the 6th slot. Swing the bat.
Yeah. I think Pagan's got to swing, and he had a base hit his first time up. Sanchez stays in at first base, though. There's Duda on deck. And Angel pops it up into foul ground. Sanchez one away. So Pagan can't move him. Runners stay at first and second with one out. And now Duda, who had a base hit hard through the hole into right field his first time up. In Washington, Rick Ankiel's having quite a week. 2 home runs last night, grand slam tonight in the bottom of the 4th. And the Nationals have gone up on the Braves 6-3.
And that's off Lowe, right, Derek Lowe?
Yep. Breaking ball misses to Duda, ball 1.
And the Cubs are just beating up on the Pirates, boy. They're just starting to sink.
Pirates have lost 4 in a row after they ran into the Phillies and then got beat last night by the Cubs.
Atlanta's trying to give the Mets a chance to make some hay here.
And everybody else. 1-0 to Duda. And another breaking ball misses, and all of a sudden Hand just can't throw a strike with that breaking ball.
Well, doesn't have 21 walks and 29 2/3 coming in for nothing.
Sanchez throwing a little harder in the bullpen.
You missed with 2. What does that mean for Lucas?
Oh, this is like look for some dead red and racky tack, as we used to say.
Racky tack?
Racky tack.
Got in on him, and he pops it up. Infield fly rule will be called. The batter is out. And so Brad Hand has squirmed his way through a couple of pop-ups, and there are now 2 out of the inning.
Well, Lucas right now, when you become a veteran hitter, you're a big power hitter like Lucas, you just might want to look middle in, you know, and try to launch 2-0.
You know what it is that it's so frustrating sometimes for hitters when you're facing a rookie pitcher. You work him to the count you're supposed to 2-0. Where is he supposed to throw that ball? Middle away. He misses middle in because he doesn't know what he's doing.
So Mike Nikias with another chance. He had 2 on and 2 out in the second inning, and he fly to center. Mike in his first action for the Mets since the 27th of April has a chance here with 2 out and 2 on in a tie game. And Hand misses low and away.
I see where Milwaukee's jumped on St. Louis early. That's 2-1 in the second, and Milwaukee's jumped out to a 3.5 game lead in that division here.
They just never lose at home. Matt Holliday just did a home run to make it 2-1. One 1-0 to Nikias. And he hits it out to left field, but over comes Morrison, who was playing that way. And that retires the side. So the Mets get the first 2 men on, and they never move. After 4 now at Citi Field, still tied up at 1. SNY Mets broadcast team. You and a guest could have dinner with us. You're not allowed to call a home run, though. Then catch the game in an SNY suite at Citi Field on Thursday, September 1st. Plus, you'll be featured in a segment on Mets Weekly. All proceeds benefit the high school basketball team scheduled to play in the 2012 SNY Invitational. Just go to sny.tv/charity auction and bid today. You guys seen the menu yet?
No.
Oh, look, Kevin is up in front of the Verizon studio. Kevin?
Our favorite part of the homestand, Gary, the live Verizon Ask the Booth. We scout out a fan, find a good question for you guys, and Jim from Brooklyn has one. Jim, what do you got?
Hey, guys, can the Mets afford not to re-sign Jose Reyes next year?
Okay, fellas, it's in your court.
Well, it's nice. We get the nice, easy question, which is always great. I don't know. It's not my money to spend, but I will say that Reyes has had quite a year, and I think I can't envision this Mets team moving forward without him as the shortstop.
I concur. Would you give him 7 years?
Well, let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
First of all, when the year began and the Mets got off to a bad start and there was all the negative news about the Mets' finances, the assumption was that Reyes would be gone from the Mets by now, that they would have traded him to try and get something for him before he became a free agent. But the decision was made long ago. His hand grounds one to the left of the mound, and right throws him out, one away. The decision was made long ago by Sandy Alderson, and you have to figure in conjunction with ownership that there was no way in the world that they were going to trade him. And that meant that when this season ends, they're going to make every effort to re-sign him.
Yes.
Now, you know, the Reyes camp decided they do not want to negotiate during the season. The Mets have honored that. But the Mets clearly desire to be Reyes' team for the long term. The rest of it is in the hands of Reyes and his agents.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody comes along, and I don't even want to talk about years and numbers because I don't know what the market's going to bear. But if somebody comes along and offers money that is outrageous or a term that's outrageous, at that point, that's when the Mets have to make the decision.
Yeah.
Are they willing to go to outrageous numbers to keep him? Because clearly they want to keep him. That's clearly their first choice, and that they'll do what's reasonable to make that happen.
And you're waiting on the other maybe half dozen teams that can afford that outrageous kind of contract you were talking about. Not so outrageous if you're the agent or Jose.
You know, there was so much talk earlier this year about Carl Crawford money, but I look at Jason Worth money.
Yeah.
Okay, the Nationals clearly overspent and overextended what they offered Jason Worth. Now, Jose Reyes is a much better player than Jason Worth. Is clearly worth more than Worth is.
Worth is not half the player that Reyes is.
So if there's a team like Washington that was willing to go 7 years, $126 million for a guy that was probably worth 4 years and, I don't know, $60 million, who's to say that some team's not going to go to some astronomical number of years and dollars to sign a guy like Reyes? And at that point, the Mets have to decide, as Bonifacio strikes out, whether it is in the long-term best interest of the franchise to devote that many years and dollars to Reyes, or any player for that matter.
No, I agree. And in fact, if we even look at the Worth contract closer, Philadelphia was ready to sign Jason Worth if it was at a number that they thought was worth at some point. But when Washington went to the 7 years, of course, everybody got out of Dodge.
Here's Infante, who delivered the keynote tonight with a first-inning home run off Capuano. And a slider misses for ball one. Is it just me, or is Capuano throwing more sliders against right-hand hitters than he was earlier in the year?
What he's trying to do is get another weapon early in the count to get like a get-me-over slider or curveball, Gary. Hasn't been that effective tonight. Hasn't been that effective the last 3 starts. But he's just trying to get that little lazy. I don't know if you ever faced Frank Tanana late in his career, Keith, but he used to be the best at just flipping that little slider over for strike one. You couldn't swing at it because it was just slow enough.
Behind Infante 2-0, and he takes the fastball for a strike.
The guy that always comes to my mind, and no one will remember, Gary, you and Ronnie will, but was the Pirates, was Jim Rooker.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't overpowering, and he knew how to pitch.
Infante hits another one deep to left. Back goes Bay, looking up at the wall, and he's hit another one. Infante came into the night with 1 home run. He's hit 2 in this game, and the Marlins lead it 2-1.
Well, the first one here, home run by Infante, was up. This one was down.
It was a changeup too.
Fastball away. Oh, too much play. It sailed over the down and in, didn't it, Ronnie?
Yeah, he might have called fastball away, but he ended up throwing a changeup.
Changeup, right?
Absolutely.
So the Marlins back in front. 5th time in his career that Infante's hit 2 home runs in a game.
Isn't that funny how that ball just sailed? It started out outside corner and sailed right down the inner half.
And you know, it's funny. 90% of the changeups that he throws sail away from right-handers. That one just held onto it a little too long, and that's, you know, sometimes you have to tip your cap. That's good hitting by Infante.
2-0 to Gabby Sanchez, and he takes a fastball for a strike. For Infante, he's only hit 48 career home runs in 10 years. 48 in 10 years, and yet he has 5 multiple home run games. It's a little strange. His biggest home run year was 16 in his first full season with Detroit back in 04. But he has been Capuano's main nemesis tonight. A pair of solo home runs for Infante and a 2-1 Florida lead. Sanchez has struck out and flied out, a rare 0 for 2 against the Mets. And he gets crowded 3-1. Ian Desmond has just homered for Washington. They're up 8-3 on Atlanta in the 5th. Well, the Braves keep opening the door for the Mets to gain some ground. Sanchez pokes one the other way, foul.
Well, these are the 2 pitches. Fastball inside, got him out the first time, called looking. We thought it was inside, and then he made a pitch out over the middle there, got away with one. But you know what? You can get away with that fastball more if you hang a breaking ball. Yeah. You're more apt to get hurt with the hanging breaking ball than you are with your fastball.
This one popped up in the middle of the infield. Who's going to get it? Duda and Wright both calling. Duda takes charge, and the inning is over. David knew enough to back away. It's been there before.
Marlins go back in front on Infante's home run. It's 2-1.
New York sports content, including up-to-the-minute sports news and original video. Visit Facebook and like SNY today. Mets down by a run as they come to bat in the bottom of the 5th. Chris Capuano went down looking his first time up and takes a strike from Brad Hand. And has been in trouble a couple of times and worked his way out of it. 4th inning, Mets had the first 2 men on, but the next 3 hitters all hit the ball in the air. And that's really been the story for Hand. He's gotten 1 ground ball out in this game. And over his brief major league career, he has gotten far more fly ball outs than ground ball outs. The major league average is 34% outs caught in the air. Hand's number in the major leagues coming into tonight was 55%.
He's lucky he pitches in Florida and then here tonight.
Good ballpark for him. Jose Reyes, who homered offhand, is on deck. Justin Turner behind him. Can we bring Jacob back for Reyes' at bat?
If Jose knew he'd want him back, I'll tell you that.
Hit toward the hole, and Capuano's got a base hit. Just his 3rd hit of the year. The first 2 were doubles, and this one a soft single through the hole. And so Reyes will come up with a man on after this in the 3rd inning. Curveball. That was Reyes' first home run as a right-hand batter this year. His last one came more than a year ago off Brian Mattis in Baltimore back on June the 12th of last season. Reyes now has 47 extra base hits, which puts him in the top 7 in the league in that category.
Now, I'm sure you guys have this answer. I don't know this. I'm assuming that Reyes was originally a right-handed hitter and right-handed only.
I think that's true of most switch hitters, isn't it? Can't think of too many switch hitters who are natural lefties. Do you know of any, Keith? Switch hitters who started out as left-hand batters?
No. Can't think of any.
I was thinking the only guy right now who's having a great year is Berkman, maybe.
Yeah. I'll give you another guy. Doug DeCenzo.
Yeah, Doug DeCenzo. So maybe we should just say if you're a right-handed thrower,
right,
most of the time you're a right-handed hitter and change over to the left side.
Capuano not being held on by Sanchez, and Reyes chases the off-speed pitch. And who doesn't throw a whole lot of change-ups, strikes out Reyes with one. That's his 4th strikeout.
Well, Reyes, who very seldom strikes out this year and very seldom has a bat where a pitcher gets quick work done with him. This is such a rarity.
Reyes, the toughest man to strike out of the National League this season, once every 15.4 plate appearances.
I do have to say, though, if Hand ever can get himself in a position to throw that changeup more, that was a good pitch.
1 out and 1 on. Now Justin Turner is 0 for 2, lined out to right his last trip. Hits this one out to right center field, chasing Cameron back toward the gap, and it's over his head, and it bounces over the wall, which probably cost the Mets a run. Capuano is fast enough that if that ball had hit the fence, he might have had a chance to score, but he'll have to stop at 3rd.
Well, they've been playing Turner shallow in the right and center field, and it's played well for the Marlins in the first game, but here again they get burned. And that ball was driven to the deepest part of the park right there, the 415.
He hit it about 410. So Turner with a long double, his 20th 2-base hit of the year. Mets have the most triples and the 2nd most doubles in the National League. So David Wright with a chance here to do some damage. Tying run at 3rd, go ahead run at 2nd. 1 out.
Don't understand why Gabby Sanchez at first is kind of playing halfway. Everybody else is way back.
And Wright fouls off the first pitch fastball. David looking for his first Citi Field hit since early May. He went 0 for 3 last night. He's 0 for 2 tonight. A fly ball and a strikeout after a great road trip coming off the disabled list.
Well, David was an RBI machine on that road trip.
Well inside. Keep in mind you've got Capuano running at 3rd base, and you go back to the play in Washington. when John Neese was on third and the fly ball to right, and Neese did not try to score.
Capuano, though, a veteran, and he can run, as you mentioned before.
Hit toward the middle of the diamond. That'll get the run in. Ramirez throws out right. Capuano scores to tie the game at 2. David Wright drives in his 31st run. Turner went over to third.
Well, Capuano helps himself by starting this inning off with a base hit. Another changeup sinking, Ronnie.
High, though.
Yep.
So Wright pleased to have the RBI, but would have wanted more.
I think when he grounded that pitch out, that was a pitch he could have driven. Just missed it.
Well, Scott Hairston's hit 2 balls hard tonight for a pair of hits, and he's got the go-ahead run. Turner at third with 2 down. Mets have never led in this game. They've come from behind twice to tie. Hairston red hot with the bat right now. 9 hits in his last 21 at bats with 4 home runs and 9 RBIs in that span. And there's the changeup missing. 2-0. To Hairston, and it's well outside, and Hand pitching like he wants no part of Hairston. Threw him a 2-0 changeup. You got Jason Bay on deck.
Did you give Harrison a hit sign here, Ron, with an inexperienced pitcher?
No.
Okay.
I just think that when you know you're supposed to get a strike, he's too young. You might not get the pitch you want.
And they're playing Hairston big time pull. Infante way up the middle, and Hanley Ramirez way for the pulled shortstop.
Three and one now to Hairston, and he pulls one down to third. Bonifacio with a good pickup, and he throws him out to end the inning. Bonifacio on a hard hit ball, getting his glove on it and saving a run. The Mets get 1 and tied up again after 5. It's 2-2. Sixth inning at Citi Field. The Mets have fallen behind twice tonight and both times rallied to tie. Mets have out-hit the Marlins 7-4. Chris Capuano's given up a pair of solo home runs to Omar Infante and little else. They'll face Hanley Ramirez, Logan Morrison, and Mike Stanton in the top of the sixth. And the sixth has been a troubling inning for Capuano lately.
Well, Capuano right now, this point in his career, usually 100 pitches is about enough. He's at 87 right now, going through the meat of the order for the fourth time.
Hanley Ramirez drove a double past a diving Jason Bay in left center his last time up. Hanley's 1 for 2 on the night. And he lifts one out to right field, hit pretty well. Hairston back into the Mo zone and there to make the catch. One long out off the bat of Ramirez to start the sixth.
Nicely played by Hairston. That's not an easy play.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Logan Morrison, who grounded out to first base and drew a walk. Manny Acosta, who pitched brilliantly yesterday, is up in the bullpen. His first day with the new fro worked out just great. I was watching him in the clubhouse today. That's an amazing piece of hair he's got there.
That's right.
Who knew?
It's a lot of work to make that thing into a perfect circle.
It's fully picked out.
Tito Lander, an old teammate with the Cardinals, played with the Cardinals, a reserve outfielder, and actually went on to the White Sox, hit the big home run in the playoffs. Was it playoffs or the World Series? It was the World Series. I'm not sure. And he would sit there, and we'd give him. He'd make sure his uniform was just perfect.
Yeah.
He would take 15 minutes before every game to get that hair just perfect.
And then you put a hat on it. What good is that?
And then he would redo the hat, make it look perfect.
Morrison dead center field. Back goes Pagan to the edge of the track to run it down. Boy, 2 hard hit balls to start the inning from Ramirez and Morrison, resulting in 2 outs. Let's check in with the studio. Jonas Schwartz is standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Terry Collins out at the mound to talk to Chris Capuano after giving up those 2 long fly balls, and I'm sure that Terry wants to find out whether he's got enough left to face Mike Stanton.
He's had a big conversation about Stanton.
Yeah, well, the conversation is, hey, listen, I just want to get this straight. Stanton's up, Cameron's behind him. So pick your poison, be a veteran, make him hit your pitch. Keep it down.
Keep it in the ballpark.
He got away with one against Stanton on an 0-2 pitch his last time up, and Stanton hit a fly ball to center.
It's a good job what he's doing here. If you sometimes you think Sanchez warming up, Brian Sanchez. You think to yourself, you want to pitch around a guy, you're going to throw all breaking balls. That's not usually what you do, especially against Stanton. If I didn't want him to hit the ball, I want to throw 4 pitches right under his belt buckle.
In the air to left field over toward the line. Here comes Bay, and he gets there to make the catch. Fly balls for all 3 outfielders in the inning, and Capuano's through the 6th unscathed, tied at 2 with Bay set to lead off. Coming in.
And the veteran right-hander Brian Sanchez comes out of the bullpen for Florida.
Well, you knew that Jack McKeon was not going to mess around. Nice job by Brad Hand, and goes right to Brian Sanchez, who is their long man.
Well, the Mets trying to get out of some offensive doldrums right now. This is from batting practice earlier today. And the one thing you note during the first round of batting practice is how the Mets concentrate on hitting the ball to the opposite field.
Well, this is the philosophy of Dan Hudgens. And notice in this first round, too, how the pitcher, the batting practice pitcher, is throwing soft toss to him. No pressure.
Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Hey, batting practice is very structured, guys. I mean, Dave Hudgens has it down to a science. There are 5 rounds in BP. First one is lay down some bunts, and then it's going the other way. And he said the goal of that is to really see the ball. He wants guys to start out seeing the ball, let it get as deep as possible. Sets him up for a good frame of mind as Bay pops one a mile high. And Buck puts him away, and there's one down. And he said that's a great way to start. That's what we do every day. After that, then it's situational stuff. Get them on, get them over, get them in. We'll set up situations. We'll call hit and runs. You know, we'll say certain guys are on base. We need a ground ball to the right side. That's round number 2. Round 3, it's really about going all up the middle. You know, we're going to throw you pitches in different locations, and I want guys to take it up the middle. You know, nice and easy up the middle. And he feels it's so important if guys can go up the middle because, A, it means you're mechanically, for the most part, right. Hudgens is not a big mechanical guy, but he feels if you're able to go up the middle, you're probably doing things for the most part right. They have 2 more rounds after that. It's pulling the ball in the 4th round. You know, they'll get balls in, want guys to turn on it in case they get that inside pitch in the game. And then the last round again, middle of the field. They'll just go right up the middle. Hudgens said it's a good way to end. So they start off oppo, they end it going up the middle of the field.
Pagan pops one up, shallow left. In comes Morrison. Hanley out, can't get it. And it's a base hit for Pagan.
Hanley's hurt.
He went down hard on that left shoulder as he made the dive. And that's a sight that no Marlins fan wants to see. So Pagan has a base hit, but the concern for Hanley Ramirez.
Boy, he's in some kind of pain. This is a dislocated shoulder kind of injury when you fall like that. All your body weight is transferred right to the shoulder that hits first.
So it's that left shoulder. It's the shoulder.
Well, he immediately came up holding that shoulder. And the trainer out there to try and figure out how to help him. Sean Cunningham, the head athletic trainer for the Marlins, there with Ramirez along with Jack McKeon, the manager.
Well, nice effort. He almost catches this ball.
Why this injury happens is because when you reach out for the baseball, you expose your entire shoulder, and your body weight falls completely on that kind of top of that shoulder, and it's too bad.
Well, he's coming out of the game, and you can see how he's got the arm held against his body, and so you know he's still in significant pain with that shoulder, and they'll take him back for x-rays immediately. They can do that in-house here and see if they can diagnose the problem, and hopefully not a severe one for Hanley Ramirez, whose season really didn't get started until about a month ago when Jack McKeon came along and slid him into the cleanup spot. Jack able to get a smile out of him. That's a good sign.
Does Bonifacio go to shortstop?
Then Dobbs the third, maybe?
Yeah, Dobbs is on the field and warming up at third base. There's Greg Dobbs. So Ramirez out of the game after making an effort to catch that pop up from Pagan that lands as a parachute single. So Dobbs warming up his arm. He comes in at third. Bonifacio will slide over to short. Well, while we have a moment, we were showing that video from batting practice, and Kevin was given the rundown on how the team goes about BP. Does it change much from team to team Keith, and is it much different now than it was when you were playing?
Well, I think that there's too much control today with the coaching staffs as opposed to when I played. I always liked to work when I came up in BP. You know, you bunt, you hit and run, you get the runner over, then you get 10 swings in the first round. And I like to work the opposite field over the shortstop's head, and I gradually with each round brought it around to pull. I didn't need to have that kind of structure, Gary. I was disciplined, and most hitters were. A lot of hitters today are home run happy, and I think hitting coaches have to have a firmer hand with them so they don't get in bad habits and try to hit fly balls.
There's Lucas Duda with Pagan at first. Do you think that most teams concentrate as much on going the opposite way and up the middle as the Mets do?
Well, it's hard for me to tell when you got teams coming in, we don't see them that much. I think Dan Hutchins does this, Dave Hutchins, excuse me, because this is a big ballpark. This is Death Valley. You have to hit line drives here. And I think his purpose is, by the focus on opposite field, the focus is also line drives. It's Death Valley here. You've got to hit line drives. And so I think that is what he's trying to do. And the Mets have been a team that have thrived without hitting home runs, Gary. When they score runs, they don't hit a lot of home runs. So I think it's critical when you play 81 games here. You know, you can go to those small ballparks, a 10-day road trip. You know, maybe you go to Pittsburgh, you go to Cincinnati, Houston, and their bandboxes, and you get in bad habits and come home a 10-game set here, and all of a sudden you're hitting fly balls, and they're F7, F8, F9 in your scorecard.
Funny thing is, it's really worked just the other way for the Mets so far this year. They've been able to take those skills on the road better than they've been able to incorporate them at home.
What I always found interesting, I just described the way I wasn't a home run hitter. I was a line drive hitter. I talked to Willie Stargell one time. I mentioned this before. Willie Stargell would do the exact same thing I did, but he said his last 5 swings, he swung for the home run. But he was a 40 home run guy, 30 plus.
0-1 to Duda with Pagan at first. Sanchez spent a lot of time worrying about Pagan.
Keith, each round, how many swings?
1 bunt, 1 hit and run, 1 get him over, 10. Next round, 10. If you worked real quickly through the good batting practice pitcher like Bud Harrelson and Bobby Valentine and Tony Ferrara and threw strikes, because there were some BP guys that couldn't throw strikes, get another round of 10. Then it was down to 8, 6, 4.
Pagan runs. The throw by Buck is high, and Pagan has the stolen base. Stolen base number 20 for Angel Pagan.
Good pitch to throw, too, up in the strike zone. He's just not accurate with his throws. His balls fade into the runner.
He threw out Hairston earlier in the game, but not Pagan. Angel had a career-high 37 steals last year, 20 this year. He's in scoring position with 1 out. And Duda fooled by the off-speed pitch, 1-2. Mike Dunn, the left-hander, up in the bullpen for the Marlins.
Nice camera angle there. I like that.
Mets are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position after going 2 for 4 last night. And it gets by Buck right through the 5-hole, and over to third goes Pagan. He didn't close the 5-hole, and that's a huge wild pitch.
Well, under the wickets there. Infield in.
So now the Mets are a fly ball away from grabbing the lead. 2-2 to Duda. Line right field, right at Stanton. Pagan tags. He's coming. Here comes the throw by Stanton. Not in time. And the Mets have the lead. A laser beam sacrifice fly from Duda. And it's 3-2 New York.
Well, nicely done by Lucas here. Another changeup. Got a little much play. He kept his hands back. Stanton with all the momentum going forward here, and he throws a moonshot. And Pagan with the great speed. It's going to be difficult to throw him out.
That's what Jack McKeon was talking about, Stanton killing birds. He kept it low last night, not so low tonight.
Well, you know, it's nitpicking, but if he could have caught that ball on his right side, it makes it a little easier. But when it's going 100 miles an hour, hard to do.
Nikias fouls one back. So Pagan using his speed for a run. Blue pit, stolen base, wild pitch, sacrifice fly. And the Mets have a lead for Capuano for the first time tonight.
So the Mets steal a run.
That's 97th stolen base this year, second in the league. Slider strike, 0-2 to Nikias, who's flied out twice tonight in his first start since April. Acosta ready in the bullpen. Capuano 94 pitches deep through 6 innings. Looks like he's shut it down.
Yeah, that tells me that Acosta's coming into the ball game.
Willie Harris on deck to bat for Capuano if Nikias keeps the inning going.
You know, Capuano got through that 6th carry, but there were some hard hit balls in that inning.
Well, he survived the 6th, which has been a very troubling inning for him. But the Marlins took their shots. Ramirez and Morrison both hitting into the warning track. And Nikias down on strikes to end the inning. But the Mets take the lead. Pagan with a base hit, steals a base, scores a run, and gives Capuano the lead. Now the Mets go to the bullpen. Hernandez on Mets Plaza before the Mets Braves game this Saturday, August 6th, for the 3rd annual Brooklyn Burger Eating Contest. Be there at 5:30 p.m. to check out the contest, and you could have a chance to compete for a VIP game day experience at a Mets game later this season. Let me get this straight as Manny Acosta comes on for the Mets. You are judging a hamburger eating contest?
I'm not sure. But I'll
what
be
do you
there.
mean you're not
sure?
Well,
they told me today and I forgot. But I'll have to be there. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, here's what I know from the information that I've been able to glean from reliable sources. There are going to be 8 contestants eating plain burgers, no cheese, as many burgers as they can eat in 10 minutes.
And the Keith burgers, too. That's very impressive. And I get to crown the champion, I guess. I'm assuming.
You don't have to, like, give him a gold glove or something.
No. Hospital bed. Give him some fries or
some Pepto-Bismol. Mike Cameron is 0 for 1 in a walk. And he hits one in the air to left field. Just got under that one. And Jason Bay is there. The Marlins are certainly doing some big swinging these last couple of innings.
That's called a near miss right there. Just got under it. It's a big hang with him.
Well, Acosta was tremendous last night. Went 2 innings to keep the Mets in the game. Struck out 4 in those 2 innings.
That's why I find it interesting that he's back in there tonight. 2 solid innings. Back-to-back outings.
25 pitches in that 2-inning stint last night. Here's John Buck, who's 0 for 2. And he hits it in the air to center field. And chasing Pagan back. And Angel back to grab it. 2 out. That's 5 consecutive fly ball outs from the Marlins. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV. And you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Marlins are here for one more tomorrow night with Dylan G against Clay Hensley. Off Thursday. Then the Braves are in for the weekend. Dwayne Wise will bat for the pitcher. Wise was the guy last night who had the base hit in the 10th inning with runners at first and second. Took the wide turn at first as Murphy cut it off. Was out in no man's land and somehow got back to first. Steve Cishek is up in the bullpen for the Marlins. Well, that's a great view, isn't it?
Sure is. Another nice crowd at Shea. That's a $20 fine.
Fine.
Oh.
Couldn't do the fine because someone stole the money.
Another Andrew Jackson down the tubes. There it is.
Now you've got the Shea name immortalized on the left field fence. You've got the Shea Bridge out in right center. So there are plenty of reminders of where we used to work.
In our time, we used to call it the Big Shea, of course. But the guys from California used to call it Shea Lake. Because every time we'd come back from a road trip, it would be raining at LaGuardia when we got off the plane.
Big cut by Wise. You know who called it the Big Shea? Merle Harmon used to do the Jets games back in the days when he had the local blackout.
Yeah.
Merle Harmon and Sam DeLuca, and it was always Merle Harmon and Sam DeLuca from the Big Shea.
Nice.
Yeah. Back in the Namath days. Another big cut by Wise, and it's 2-2, and Acosta is throwing heat.
Well, Acosta has moved up the food chain, has he not? And he's earned it.
Maybe it's a new hair. He's got the Samson-like.
It's interesting. Sandy Alderson was talking yesterday about how he was looking to help the bullpen at the trading deadline. And just in the last few days, you've had Igarashi and Acosta, 2 of the lesser members of that bullpen, step forward and pitch a whole lot better.
Sometimes your help is right there in front of your eyes.
Sometimes it can be a little incentive producing when your general manager talks about replacing you. It's a pretty good Powerball jackpot right there.
Worthy of a ticket, Gary?
160. Yeah.
We'd miss you if you win.
No, I'd stay.
Well, you'd stay?
Keith would be off in the hills. I'd still
boy,
be here.
we would never pay for another dinner on the road, I'll tell you that.
Now the 3-2, and the breaking ball back up the middle, a base hit for Wise. So Wise, who had a base hit in the game last night, his only at bat, has a base hit tonight. Recently off the interstate. Here's your AT&T trivia question for tonight. Which pitcher has the most career wins against the Mets? I can think of a few likely suspects.
Well, yeah, one was the Giants pitcher and Cub pitcher that had the Mets number.
Yeah, but there was the Cubs and Braves pitcher who was around for a long time.
Yeah. Carlton's not one because the Mets always gave Carlton trouble.
I'll tell you who beat the Mets a lot in the early days was the guy who pitched for the Cardinals and the Phillies, Larry Jackson.
Oh, okay. He pitched for both.
Larry Jackson had the Mets cold back in the 60s.
Larry Jackson pitched for the Cubs too. He was a 20-game winner.
Wise at first, Bonifacio the hitter. 1 for 3 on the night. There goes Wise. The throw by Nicky is right on the money, and he got him. Perfect throw by Mike Nickius to end the inning. Nickius is back there for his defense, and he shows it off. A strike to Reyes. And Wise is tagged out. 3-2 New York in the 7th. Finale, plus all the latest from Jets and Giants camp with live reports, insider info, and exclusive interviews in the Wheelhouse, presented by Pepsi, part of the New York Sports Local, tomorrow at 5:30 on SNY. Jason Isringhausen getting ready for some later work, throwing that weighted ball in the bullpen. Right now it's Bobby Parnell warming up, getting ready for the 8th. Mets will look to expand on the 3-2 lead in the bottom of the 7th against the tall right-hander Steve Cishek.
Well, he's brought in. He's got the real sidewinder Cishek. See his numbers on the season. Doesn't walk anybody. High strikeouts from a guy who throws from the side. He has a pretty good slider.
That's it. Cishek pretty hard when they saw him in Florida on the last road trip. Willie Harris will lead off, pinch hitting for Manny Acosta, who turned in another fine inning. So Acosta holding the fort after Chris Capuano went the first 6. Parnell getting ready for the 8th. It'll be Harris, Reyes, and Turner against Cishek. Brad Hand, the starter, went 5 innings for Florida, allowed 2 runs, 7 hits, a no decision for him. Brian Sanchez gave up the scratch run in the 6th. That has the Mets in front, so Sanchez is on the hook. Harris takes a strike. There are your city probables for tomorrow's game. Mets will face Clay Hensley for the 3rd time in less than 3 weeks. Dylan G goes after his 11th win for New York.
And the Mets have an off day on Thursday, and then the Bravos come in for a big weekend series.
And they will face the medal of the Braves rotation, Hudson, Hansen, and Jurgens. Although the Mets have had Jurgens' number this year. 2-1 to Harris. At 7.5 back in the wild card starting play tonight. The Braves are now down 9-3 in the 7th. And Harris takes a big rip, 2-2. The word on Hanley Ramirez, he left the game with a left shoulder sprain, and they're saying he is day to day.
So much better than the dislocation, I'll tell you that.
Ramirez hurt diving for Angel Pagan's hit in the 6th inning.
So my feeling is here, he fell flat on his chest here with full extension of his arms, and he just probably Sprained his shoulder.
Yeah, sprain could be. I mean, that could be anything. Could be nothing, or it could be serious. You just don't know. Harris hits it out to left field, chasing Morrison back. One away. Certainly, the Marlins will be crossing their fingers and hoping it's nothing serious, because they certainly can't afford to be without Henley for too long. Here's Reyes, who socked a home run against Brad Hand back in the third. He's also grounded out and struck out tonight, 1 for 3. Reyes' home run was his 5th and his first as a right-hand batter. Now he'll bat left-handed against Sanchez. Against Cishek, excuse me. And he hits this one well to center field. Back goes Cameron, going back. Warning track, and he runs it down. Reyes making a bid to dead center. And the Gold Glover Cameron making the play, 2 down.
Well, this has been a night where the pitchers have said, okay, it's Death Valley. There have been a lot of fly balls hit deep and caught. That ball was ripped, and Jose hot. Competitive spirit coming out. That's a line drive. That wasn't a fly ball. He smoked that ball.
Swing the bat that way every time. Did plenty of extra base hits. Here's Justin Turner, who had an extra base hit his last time up. Long double to right center. He hit it about 410 feet. It bounced into the bullpen, and that set up the tying run for the Mets. Ball 1 to Turner. Let's check in with Kevin.
A couple weeks ago, Terry Collins was talking about what the next step would be for Turner, say, next year in his improvement. He said, well, I'd like to see him pull the ball a little bit more. And I asked Turner about it today, and he said, look, I pull the ball on the ground right now. Obviously, I'd like to pull it on a line, and that's something that I'm trying to get better at. On the road trip, I had a couple sinkers that came in, and I pulled them both for doubles. That was encouraging. I do work on it every day, but at the same time, I'm not going to change my approach. I'm going to go up there. If I get a ball middle away, I'm going to go the other way. That's the way I've done it for a long time. So I'm trying to improve it, but I'm going to stay within who I am, guys.
Poke toward short, and Bonifacio grabs the liner. That retires the side. Not sure Bonifacio knew it was the third out, but it was. After 7, 3-2 New York. Run lead, and Bobby Parnell will come in to face the top of the batting order.
Well, he has been giving up some hits his last couple of outings. 3 runs given up in his last 2. Here facing the top of the order for the Marlins.
Took the walk-off loss in Washington on Sunday afternoon. A hit batsman, a wild pitch, and then an infield single, beating Parnell on that day. Bonifacio, the top of the 8th. Bonifacio 1 for 3, a bunt single in the 3rd.
We're in both corners in. David Wright really in. And Duda really hugging that line as he should. No doubles here.
you missed the news earlier today, turns out that Johan Santana, who was supposed to make his second rehab start coming back from shoulder surgery this week, will not. Santana has had what is being described as lingering discomfort in his shoulder after making that first rehab start and then doing long toss in between starts. And so Johan's going to come to New York and see the doctor on Thursday to see what's going on. Right back to Parnell. He's tall enough to grab this one. 1 out. And so the expectations for Santana as this year have gone along have kind of been ratcheted down.
I don't really believe this is about this year. I think it's about a timetable that will get him ready. If part of that timetable is pitching games in the major leagues this year, good. If it's not, it's not. But we're certainly not going to rush things. But right now, I think a window in September is open to us. If it closes, that's the way it goes.
Early in the season, Sandy Alderson was talking about Johan coming back after the All-Star break. But as the year has gone along, I think it's become quite clear that the injury that Santana is recovering from, and we've seen this with Chen-Ming Wang, is pretty serious and it's going to take a while.
Well, when we saw the numbers from Santana when he made that start in Daytona Beach, I was listening and reading and cared about the things that Randy Neiman says, because that's what he does. He rehabilitates pitchers. He always tempers his response.
Reyes has to go to the backhand, and the off-balance throw off the back Duda, and Infante is safe with his third hit of the game. So Infante, who has hit 2 home runs tonight, this time has an infield hit.
All Infante has to do is make contact, and it's going to find a hole.
That's right,
doesn't it?
He's got 6 hits in 2 games in this series.
And the reason I'm saying I was listening to Nemo is that you cannot judge a rehabilitating pitcher after he stepped off the mound with 3 scoreless innings. How you judge him is the day after and the day after that, because if he has no pain, then you move forward. If he does, which Johan had, then you have to call the jam off for a couple days, and that's what's happened for Santana.
Tying run at first for Gabby Sanchez. 0 for 3 tonight. And it trickles away from Nikias, and down to second base goes Infante.
That's going to be a pat ball. Really ran on Nikias. Watch this fastball just run. Oh, my goodness.
Still a ball you got to catch.
It's tough, though, when someone's throwing 98, 97, Ronnie.
And everything is true until you get one pitch like that.
Yep.
Well, history repeating itself for Bobby Parnell here in the 8th inning. This inning looking a lot like Sunday in Washington.
And a very interesting choice for Terry Collins. After this batter, it's going to be Greg Dobbs, the left-hand hitter. You saw the shot of Burdack up in the bullpen. If Collins brings in Burdack, Jack McKeon can counter with Wes Helms, the right-hand hitter.
I think that Terry would take that matchup. Yeah. Helms has had a terrible year.
So it's going to be interesting how this plays out.
2-0 to Gabby Sanchez. Well, first Parnell has to figure out a way to throw Sanchez a strike. Igarashi is up as well in the bullpen. Because you not only have Dobbs, you have Morrison behind him, another left-hand batter. So it would appear as though Burdack's going to get a call in a moment. But first 3-0 to Sanchez. See if he's turned loose. Tying run at second, and he takes a strike. 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
Hey, this is too important a game to let slip away, Ron. Don't you agree?
Oh, I agree.
And you want to nurse Parnell, and you want to show confidence in him, but this is too important a ball game. You got to win this game.
This is not the game to do it.
Development comes later. Now on 3-1, Sanchez lines it foul. And Parnell works his way back to a full count.
It's the first time I've seen Sanchez, as you look at Greg Dobbs on deck, way to come in for Hanley Ramirez. It's the first time I've seen Sanchez swing a little big, Keith.
Yes.
Almost like he's over swinging for some reason.
Infante at second and 1 out. 3-2 to Gabby Sanchez. Down to first, Duda, foul ball.
Well, due to correctly guarding the line, don't want a double. That's the go-ahead run at the plate. I love this angle. I love it.
Isn't it interesting about bullpens, guys? You're trying to find a place to pitch Igarashi. Now you're pitching him every day.
Go with the hot hand. Parnell's 3-2. And Sanchez down swinging at a buck-1.
He was tardy. He missed that 310 to Yuma there. My goodness. This is right by him.
101.
Ouch.
A silly millimeter harder. Let's check in with Jonas Schwartz, New York State Smokers quit line game break. That is an enormous home run for Jaime Garcia for a Cardinal team that has slipped 4.5 behind Milwaukee.
And that was going for his 11th win.
So now Parnell will stay in to face Dobbs. And let's see if they're going to pitch to him, walk him intentionally, or go to the left-hander.
Oh, jeez.
Edward Mojica up in the bullpen for the Marlins.
Look for Freddie Krueger in that shot.
Well, Parnell's going to pitch to Dobbs, tying run at second and 2 out. What do you think of this choice, guys?
I like it. I think with that strikeout right there, Ronnie coming back and getting him with that fastball.
And Morrison's the better hitter to me. I know Dobbs is great off the bench for a couple of seasons, but I think Morrison's the better hitter.
But what about the idea of bringing in Burdack here?
I still like Parnell. I'm still of the camp that Bobby is the future here and one of the future. Let him do it.
I know what you're saying, Gary. I think what has happened, if he had walked Sanchez, Burdack would have automatically been in the game. But I think he's rewarding a well-pitched sequence of pitches against the hottest hitter, Sanchez.
Absolutely. I 100% agree, Ronnie.
Dobbs having a big bounce back year for the Marlins this year. He was dreadful for the Phillies last year, but hitting over 300 this year for Florida. Infante at second, the tying run with 2 out. Up and into Dobbs, 2-1. Back staying ready with the left-hand hitter on deck.
I like everything our skipper does here. I mean, I shouldn't say our skipper, the Mets skipper, Terry Collins. I like the way he manages this ball club. I really do.
Fishing for a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 2-2.
Boy, that's got to be a 2-seamer.
That's running. Look at that thing run away the last minute.
That's the one Carlos Lee was talking about last year.
That's just Fanny flying out and a day late and a nickel short.
He struck him out. Bobby Parnell with back-to-back strikeouts of Sanchez and Dobbs to get himself through the top of the 8th. Parnell keeping it away with sizzle. 3-2 New York.
Mets blood drive at Citi Field on August 13th that helps save lives. By Pepsi Max Field of Dreams, you can play ball with MLB greats. Visit MLB.com/Pepsi Max to learn more. And by Dunkin' Donuts. To get dunked, go to www.getdunked.com. David Wright leads off the home 8th inning against Steve Cishek, and he takes a strike. David is 0 for 3, but he drove home the tying run with a ground out in the 5th. 0 for 6 in this series. That's at the heart of the batting order. Wright, Hairston, and Bay looking for insurance in the bottom of the 8th. After a very impressive couple of batters from Bobby Parnell.
Up and in with 99 miles an hour, 4-seamer, and then two two-seamers that no one else in the game throws that hard. Maybe Venters from the left side for Atlanta.
He's not throwing at 100. Though.
No, I think Parnell throws much more electric a fastball. Venters is more sinker,
more ground ball.
Jason Isringhausen, after throwing 24 pitches in the 10th inning yesterday and taking the loss, right back up and ready to go today. 1-2 to Wright, and he fouls back the slider. It's a pitch David wasn't reaching to foul off earlier in the year.
But the sidewinder, boy, it's a whole different angle.
That's by way of Detroit there.
But I'm just saying, he wouldn't have even touched that.
That's all, yes.
When he was a little further away from the plate. Now, David has been asked about moving closer, and he's basically poo-pooed the whole idea. He said too much is made of it. Do you buy that?
No, he just doesn't want to tip his hand. That's all. No, not going to let us know or let the media know. He doesn't want to talk about it or let other teams know about it. I mean, if I hear, now that would never happen 25 years ago, but if you heard that someone's up on the plate, that's a signal for you that, yeah, you want to stay in there? And he doesn't want any of that stuff to happen.
I just don't think he wants to be asked a ton of questions about it, you know?
Yep.
Little bloop, and Fonte comes in to grab it. One away. Let's answer our AT&T trivia question. Most wins against the Mets. Got to be Maddox, right?
Yes.
Yep. And you said Carlton was second.
Carlton is second on that list with 30. Gibson is third. Marichal fourth. Negro fifth, and Drysdale sixth.
Phil Negro.
Yeah.
Larry Jackson had 21, but he doesn't make that list.
Well, maybe we would like to see the Carlton winning percentage, Dave.
Yeah, what's the record there? They beat Carlton a lot.
Yes, they did. Well, of course, the famous game in '69 as Hairston takes a strike, in which Carlton set a record striking out 19 and lost the game. Ron Swoboda hit two-run homer. And was down the stretch in '69 when the Mets were winning every day. Hairston is 2 for 3, and he fouls that one off, 0-2. Of course, that's when Carlton was with the Cardinals. Carlton was, I think, more dominant against the Mets as a Philly. Yeah. Of course, he was more dominant against the world as a Philly.
I hate to take away Dave's thunder, but I think Carlton was 30 and 36 against the Mets.
You don't mind taking away his thunder?
Dave, you can go home. Dave. You beat the crowd. Get out of here.
Steve Cishek has faced 4 and retired them all. Hairston is 2 for 3 tonight. And slider off the plate, 2-2. Well, they've gone to the 9th in Washington. The Nats up 9-3 on the Braves. So it looks like the Mets are going to get a chance to gain a game on Atlanta tonight. 2-2. Strike 3 called. Looking for the slider, took the fastball, and Cishek has his first strikeout. So he's retired all 5 to face him.
Well, that's right down the middle, really.
He was had.
That's looking for a breaking ball, and it didn't work out.
Coming up after we're done here, it's Lincoln Postgame Live. Jonas Schwartz, Bobby Ojeda, all the highlights. Reaction from the clubhouse and analysis. Lincoln Postgame Live right after the game right here on SNY. Jason Bay 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. Struck out, fouled out to the catcher.
Well, I tell you what, it's all about the wild card right now, Gare, and the Mets have 4 teams ahead of them. They're tied with the Pirates. Pirates are going to get beaten tonight. They're 11-2 in the 8th, and that would be a monumental comeback. They're going to leapfrog the Pirates. So when you are, whether it's wild card or you're in a divisional chase, it's all about, if you're in 4th place, you got to get above the next team ahead of you, and you got to just get above the next team, then the next team, then you're in 2nd place.
Yeah, I disagree with that somewhat, because the teams in front of the Mets, you're talking about the Pirates, the Cardinals, and the Diamondbacks, are all closer to their division lead than they are to the wild card lead.
Well, correct. So there's
so the Mets are they're chasing the Braves. And I think that's going to be their focus.
And what happens is that if you go ahead of one team, you might be behind another team because they probably went ahead in their division. But you're right, the Braves are the class of that wild card so far. Why not shoot for them?
And the other piece of that is the Mets get more shots at the Braves than they do at anybody else. They got 9 more games left with Atlanta starting this weekend, so that's got to be their focus as they try and move up.
So your basic point, Gary, is that because Arizona and San Francisco are up in the air, and Milwaukee and St. Louis are kind of up in the air, that's a 3.5, that if Arizona vaults in front, then it's San Francisco. I follow you.
Hit the other way, and Bay's got a 2-out hit. Well, Jason extends his hitting streak to 6 games. And that's first hit off Cishek. I think my point is that the wild card team's going to come out of the East. And, you know, if the Mets catch the Braves, I think they'll be the wild card. But that's a big uphill climb right now. Terry Collins said yesterday he thinks the wild card will require 90 wins.
Yeah.
That means the Mets have to go 35 and 18 the rest of the way.
Yep. Well, you know what they say, take it one day at a time.
Pagan is 2 for 3 today, and he takes a fastball strike. Well, Bay's got to think about stealing a base here, doesn't he?
That would be a good idea.
Cishek not all that fast to the plate.
Buck doesn't throw that well.
Jason's got 9 steals in 10 tries, carrying an insurance run at first base. To Pagan. Angel scored the go-ahead run in the 6th inning. Blooped a single. That's the play Hanley Ramirez got hurt, spraining his left shoulder. Pagan then stole second, advanced to third on a wild pitch, and came home on a sac fly by Lucas Duda. Jason Isringhausen preparing for a save opportunity. And Buck just.
Oh.
Duda would be next.
Did we like the old, any of you guys like the old teal uniforms of the Marlins? Care? What was your feeling on that old uniform?
Not a big fan of the teal. Not a big fan of the black either.
I know it's colorblind. I didn't even like that uniform.
It was the 1-2, and it misses away.
There they are. Very good. That was the old hat, the old color.
It's back from their pennant-winning days, World Series winning days in '97.
Yeah.
Look at those uniforms. I think of Moises Alou and Bobby Bonilla and Darren Dalton.
How about our cameramen? They're finding that stuff. You know, they from our mouth to their.
They're right on it.
They're just Johnny on the spot.
Which is different from Johnny on the Pony, which we used to play as kids.
I'm not going there. I don't want to have that visual of you playing Johnny on the Pony.
Did you not play Johnny on the Pony?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
I've never heard of that game.
No.
Had to be an East Coast thing.
It's a city thing. Playing in front of the stoop. Pagan hits one the other way, and Dobbs has got it. Goes the short way to get the force, and that ends the inning. So it's a 1-run lead that Jason Isringhausen will be called on to try and protect as we go to the 9th at Citi Field. Images from a tightly contested game here at Citi Field. Mets with a 1-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Jason Pridey in for defense. He'll play right. And Jason Isringhausen, who took the loss last night, right back to the mound tonight.
Well, this is the toughest thing for any closer, is coming back after struggling the night before, giving up that grand slam to Stanton. But 298 saves tells me he's been through this before.
Logan Morrison, last night's hero, Mike Stanton, and Mike Cameron will be the 3 hitters due up for the Marlins in the 9th. Florida's already played 39 1-run games this year. They're 18-21. Mets have played 28 1-run games. They're 13-15. Morrison is 0 for 2 and a walk. And the first pitch misses wide for ball 1. Isringhausen trying to save it for Chris Capuano. If Capuano gets the win tonight, it would be his 10th. The last time Capuano hit double figures in victories was 2006. So it would be a meaningful milestone tonight.
And it's been a long haul for him to get back to 500. He had a lot of tough luck outings early in the season, April, May.
He's getting some more better fortune late. 6 earned runs in his last start, gets a win, leaves the ball game really, and gets a run across because Lucas Duda's sacrifice fly.
2-1 to Morrison, and Izzy struggling with his command. 3-1 now. You wonder about Isringhausen coming back so quickly after 24 pitches last night. Terry Collins said if he had gotten to 30, he would have been shut down tonight. And in fact, last night, if he had not gotten bucked to end that 10th inning, he was going to come out of the game at that point. The Mets have a safety net for Izzy with Beato getting ready. 3-1 to Morrison. And he walks him. And so the tying run is on base. Isringhausen walks the leadoff batter in the 9th.
Interesting selection. It's a little cutter, Ronnie.
Now Mike Stanton comes up. Here's what he did last night against Isringhausen.
Well, he hung the breaking ball, the cutter. Isringhausen, did you notice he asked home plate umpire Tim Welke inside? Thought he had it.
Stanton's hit 3 fly balls, all caught tonight. And he takes the first pitch, low and inside for ball 1. So it is not an easy go here for Isringhausen.
My feeling is that Capuano pounded Stanton inside.
Nickius moves away, and Stanton flies it to shallow right. Pridey was playing deep, but Turner goes out, and Justin makes the catch. 1 out of the ninth. There's a huge out for Jason Isringhausen.
Nice job by Turner. He had to go a long way.
He's calling it.
Wasn't going to get any help from behind because Pridey was playing back near the warning track against Stanton. So 1 out and 1 on, and now Mike Cameron. He and Isringhausen have seen each other plenty over the years. 15 career at bats for Cameron against Izzy. He's 3 for 15. Tonight he's 0 for 2 and a walk. Morrison the tying run at first. Not a whole lot of speed. 1 out, top of the ninth. And a check swing foul ball. 0-1.
Well, watch out, the bat boys there. Stay alert. Good that they have those helmets on.
John Buck, the catcher and number 8 hitter, is on deck. They've got one left-handed bat on the bench. Remember, Dobbs had to come in the game when Ramirez was hurt. Wise has been used as a pinch hitter, but they still have Brian Peterson from the left side.
Good choice there. Just throw over. Make sure Morrison doesn't get one of those real good kind of walking leads and tries to steal a bag.
Curve. 0-1 to Cameron, and that drops in for a strike. 0-2.
Did you see Nickius catch that ball? He waited until the last minute, caught it closer to his body, gave it more break, easier for Welke to call. See how he catches that closer to his body?
And framed it.
Framed it.
So now Isringhausen with a 2-strike advantage. Sends Morrison diving back. Manny Acosta, a scoreless inning in the 7th. Bobby Parnell, a scoreless inning in the 8th. And now Isringhausen trying to close it down. 0-2 to Cameron. Popped it up in foul ground. Duda coming over. But it's out of play.
Dangerous pitch there. That fastball up, even though the count's 0-2. Cameron is a straight, flat out high ball hitter. This one just a little too high, though.
Cameron has 6 home runs this year, including 3 as a Marlin. In fact, he had 2 in 1 game last week. It's over in Washington. The Nats beat the Braves 9-3.
I'd like to see a bounced curveball here. There we go. Bounce it.
Nickius knocks it down and keeps Morrison at first base. Boy, that was awfully tough to block.
These are little things, right? In the course of the game, just fighting it.
And he had to dance around that mask.
Nickius has already shown off his arm tonight. Gun down. Wise back in the 7th. One-two to Cameron. Line drive, base hit into center field. Over goes Pagan, cuts it off, but Morrison will go to third. And the Marlins have runners at the corners with 1 down. Mike Cameron with a huge hit. And now the Marlins have the tying run at third.
Well, he wanted this fastball away, Ronnie, and he got it up, which Cameron is a high ball hitter and too much plate.
Get that down, you get a chance to get a ground ball up. Really just has to stick his bat out there.
Nope, high ball hitter. He just flicked the wrist, didn't he, on that?
Great job by Angel to get to that baseball.
Well, what Isringhausen needs more than anything else right now is a ground ball from John Buck. Very slow runner. If you get a ground ball, you got a chance to get two and get out of here.
But he hits him, and now the bases are loaded. So Isringhausen, who got into a bases loaded mess he couldn't get out of last night, is in a bases loaded jam again tonight. A walk, a single, a hit by pitch, bases loaded, one out, and Brian Peterson coming up to pinch hit.
Cutter that didn't cut, almost went the opposite way.
Well, the Mets had Beato up in the bullpen moments ago. He sat down. Now it's the Marlins pitching coaches on the phone. Looks like Beato's getting back up now. That's Igarashi.
Well, you got a veteran pitcher out there as Worthen talks it over with his veteran closer, and you've got a young hitter up at the plate who's been struggling. I think the first pitch here, Ron, is critical. You don't want to give a young hitter a first pitch fastball. If Jason can throw a breaking ball over the plate.
Instant Toyota text ball. What should the Mets do right now? Leave Izzy in or go to the bullpen? Text 57508 with your opinion.
Oh boy, we got the armchair managers now.
Well, the other thing about Peterson is that he's got a lot more speed than Buck. So you have the double play situation set up a moment ago. Now you got a little faster guy from the left side, a tougher double play.
Three things you want here: pop up, strike out, ground ball back to the pitcher.
Corners in against Peterson, and he takes a strike. As he took a little off there.
A little backdoor slide, a little something.
Yeah, like a three-quarter cutter.
And you can't go up to the plate as a hitter and you pinch hitting, and you cannot take.
Peterson started last night at center field, went 0 for 3.
Corners in. Duda in, right in. Middle infielders back for 2.
And the curveball drops in for a strike. And now Isringhausen ahead on Peterson 0-2.
So how critical was the injury to Hanley Ramirez, where Jack McKeon had to put into the game his veteran left-hand pinch hitter, Greg Dobbs? He would be the man in this spot right now, not the young rookie.
Well, Isringhausen got ahead on Cameron, but Cameron rifled the base hit. Now he's ahead on Peterson 0-2 with the bases loaded. Curveball bounced slowly. Turner comes in, throws to first, throws it away. Morrison has scored. Cameron scores, and the Marlins take the lead. The only chance the Mets had to turn to was to get the out at first and then the run down, and the tying run would have scored anyway. But by Turner throwing the ball away, the tying and go-ahead run scored, and the Marlins lead 4-3.
Well, this game's going to be tied either way you look at it. And Turner, I believe, makes the right play, Ron. I don't think you're going to turn to getting that way.
No.
Smart base running by Buck to stop. They were going to get 2. They were going to get 2, but the run was going to score on the rundown. So the worst case scenario is the Mets are behind. It's just the ball wasn't hit hard enough.
So the error on Turner brings home 2 runs, 1 RBI for Peterson, because a run was going to score anyway, and you can't assume a double play. Bonifacio up with the infield in. Runners at second and third. 4-3 Florida, 9th inning. Curveball bounced to short. Reyes will go to first with it if the runners hold. And that's the second out.
Well, I must say, it's pretty good presence of mind by John Buck to just hold in that position.
Not only did he hold, but once Turner threw that ball away, even if he had thrown it to Duda, so you see Cameron's who's going to eyeball this, and once he sees the errant throw, of course, going to score the go-ahead run. Even before the errant throw, when Buck turned around the run, he ran into Turner. That would have been interference. They never would have got in the pickle anyway.
Now Omar Infante, who's 3 for 4 with a pair of home runs, and the curveball in for a strike. just so the fans understand, if you get the out at first and then you tag Buck out of the rundown, if you don't tag him before the run crosses the plate, the run counts.
Exactly.
So they were going to tie the game, even had Turner made a good throw. But the bad throw allowed the lead run to score. The only thing about if he had made the throw, not only would they have tied the game, but the inning would have been over.
The only problem you would have run into if he made the throw to Duda and they got in a rundown is Cameron could have eyeballed that and tried to score on the back and forth.
But you got Buck, who's not a very fast guy, so you figure you would have been able to tag him out pretty quickly.
Turner was in a tight spot there. He had to make a quick decision. He had to make a quick decision.
0-2 to Infante. And he fouls it back. Well, this is a huge moment here because Infante's been red hot, especially against the Mets. And a base hit here turns a 4-3 lead into a 6-3 lead.
Well, it was a huge spot with Bonifacio. So there's two huge spots. There's a big 2 runs out there to pick up.
Again, Izzy up over 20 pitches again.
24 pitches last night. Buck is at third. Peterson at second with 2 out. That's up the lower third of the order, due up in the bottom of the 9th. And it's hit hard, a foul ball. He barely missed a 2-run game-breaking hit.
Nope.
Mike DeMuro with the call, foul all the way.
Well, when you guys are calling the games on the road and the Mets were winning games, they were allowing only 27 outs to their opponents. That has not been the case the last 2 nights.
But I think you also have to go back to the leadoff walk.
Yeah.
Breaking ball, and he held up. 1-2 to Infante. First base is open, but you got Gabby Sanchez on deck. Sanchez had a tough night at the plate, but he's been so good. So you're between a rock and a hard place here with Infante and Sanchez. Now the 1-2. Struck him out. Good cutter by Izzy to end the inning. But the Marlins get a pair. As the Mets let a 9th inning lead get away, now they'll try and come back in the bottom of the 9th. We put out our Toyota text poll to ask what the Mets should do, and nearly 2/3 of you said the Mets should go to the bullpen. Now, you can't argue with what Izzy did. He got a ground ball from Peterson, but just didn't work out his way. Now Peterson stays in the game in left field, And it's not Leo Nunez, the closer, but the lefty specialist Randy Choate with Duda lead off in the ninth. However, the Mets will respond with Ronnie Paulino to bat for Duda.
Keith, tell the audience what you told me in between break, that the Marlins benefited from Buck running the bases.
Well, they had a slow runner at first. And when Turner charged the ball appropriately because the ball wasn't hard enough to turn too naturally, going to Reyes, if they'd have had a faster runner, he may have been closer to him to tag and make the throw. But the fact that Buck was so slow, he was able to make a decision to stop, and he knew right away then that it was moot because the run was going to score. If they completed the double play through the rundown, the run was going to score, as Gary explained.
So Paulino batting for Duda with the Mets down by a run in the bottom of the ninth, and Choate delivers on the outside corner, 0-1. The last time we saw Randy Choate, Jack McKeon was pulling him with a 2-0 count on a left-hand hitter, and Choate was beside himself in the Marlins dugout. And now he misses well outside to Paulino, a ball and a strike. Mike Nickius is on deck, and then Jason Pridey, another left-hand hitter, hitting in the 9-hole. He came in the double switch with Isringhausen. Mets still have plenty of left-hand hitting left in the dugout, including Daniel Murphy, who has a bat in his hands. Ball and a strike, 2 balls and a strike to Paulino.
And
Justin Turner's throwing error giving the Marlins the lead in the top of the ninth.
So Jack McKeon very shrewd here. The last right-hander on the bench. Look at Jack is stewing. Friday in the 9th hole, a left-hand hitter.
And he's got his closer Nunez getting ready after he blew the save last night.
If you're looking ahead, and Ron, you're an old pitcher, who's the 4th hitter in this inning for the Mets? Your leadoff man Reyes. You don't want that.
Ball 4. He missed badly with all 4 balls, and that's going to be the only batter Choate faces. Jack McKeon will bring in Nunez. So that didn't quite work out. He made the Mets spend their last right-hand batter, but now he's bringing in his closer anyway, and so the Mets have all that left-hand hitting to spare. So the tying run is aboard with nobody out. Choate will take his exit, and Nunez will come on. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Mets trying to come from behind in the last of the ninth. Well, they got about. Source for all things New York sports tonight. Lots of Jets news and Giants news as well. Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame, only on SNY. John Neese is running for Ronnie Paulino, carrying the tying run at first. Leo Nunez, who blew the save last night, on to try and close it tonight. And he'll come in to face Daniel Murphy, who will pinch hit for Mike Nickius. So Murph comes off the bench hitting a .320 on the year. Tying run at first with nobody out. And the changeup in for a strike.
That is such a critical first pitch, because you know Murph's going to look for that fastball, and you throw a changeup first pitch for a strike.
Jason Pride is in the 9-hole. He's on deck. Reyes behind him. Murphy 4 for 17 as a pinch hitter and has a pinch hit home run this year.
And he taps one back to Nunez. Out at second. Bonifacio the turn in time for the double play. So Nunez comes in, induces the 1-6-3 double play, and the Mets are down to their final out.
Another changeup, Ron.
Well played by Nunez and Bonifacio. Just barely getting Murphy. Already turned, crow hop, strike, 2 outs.
And you got that pitcher running, and he throws his left hand up in the air as he's sliding. That's scary to watch.
That's right.
That's his money right there, that left hand. So now Pridey, his first at bat of the day, came in on the double switch with Isringhausen. Change up gets Nunez out in front.
He's got to be careful here, because Pridey's got some pop. He showed some pop. It's just like to keep the ball away. You want to try to hit a home run, tie it up. Here, pull this outside pitch in this big ballpark.
Well, he gave up a 2-out home run to Duda that tied the game last night. Mets 2 days in a row have been down to their final out and hit a game-tying home run. It would be too much to ask, don't you think, to do it 3 days in a row? Reyes was hoping to get a turn at bat here in the 9th, but now Nunez 1 strike away from nailing it down. Friday stays alive. Terrific bullpen work by Steve Cishek for the Marlins tonight. Allowed just 1 hit over 2 scoreless innings, and he is in line for the win. As the Marlins rallied for 2 in the 9th, coming home on Justin Turner's error. Just missed. 1-2.
I always thought, Ronnie, right here, you can just bust a fastball. 0-2. Throw a fastball and make sure it's way off the plate, move them off, then you go back to the outside corner.
Just to not allow a kind of dink hit to left field.
1-2 to Pridey in the dirt. Nunez with 30 saves on the year suffered his 4th blown save last night. Two to Pridey. He struck him out and the ball game is over. An excruciating loss for the Mets. Their 4th loss in a row, but this one really hurts. They had a 1-run lead in the 9th. Only the 2nd time this year they've lost when leading after 8 innings. As Isringhausen walked the leadoff batter, and Turner's error proves to be the play that turns the game, and the Marlins win it 4-3.
Well, fastball right by him. That is the 19th win for the Florida Marlins this year in 1-run games, and it comes on a night that the Braves got blown out.
Well, they had a chance to pick up and go 6.5, and this is a tough one right here, but it all started with the leadoff walk, and also the hit by pitch was critical too. Isringhausen got the ground ball but not hit hard. And the Mets, this is a tough one.
So Isringhausen suffers the loss for the 2nd straight night. Last night it was the home run. Tonight it was the small ball, and the Marlins have caught the Mets in the standings as you look at the New York Community Bank game summary. More coming up from Citi Field in just a moment.